Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I'm here to chat about 3D printing and hopefully help some people out. If you guys would like to join the chat, go ahead and do so. And you can also join the live stream itself. I will provide a link to the video if you want to pop in and just chat away. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out the new intro, though. All right. So, pretty good. Nothing spectacular, but hey, kind of cool. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty much going to be doing some resin work here. I got some models that I need to slice up and do some supports on. Oh, that's right. I got to open up a separate window on this because not all of my comments are going to come through. For some reason, StreamYards really needs to fix that. It's kind of annoying. Looks like we got 2 on my page so far watching, 3 on 3D printing for news. Okay. Let's get some of this cleaned up here. Get this all situated. I'll need that. It's time for some new wheels. Everybody switched over. Okay. That's kind of strange. All right. Okay. Surprised more people aren't jumping up. Let's put on the invite link to the banner so that way people can join if they want. Let's edit this. There we go. All right. So we already have some pieces set up here. We need to load on. We need to check our first print. I got a couple things I need to cure here. So let's go ahead and get these situated before we do anything. Let's just take that out. We'll do full screen on this for right now. Oh, I should switch back over to the comment section. That ain't. Basically, I'm just getting rid of any of the prints that were bad. And the reason why they're bad is the fact that when I was printing with those, I had a bad FEP, and I knew it was bad. So I knew there was going to be some models that didn't come out quite right. So what's up, guys? How's it going? Hope you all having a good weekend. So far, so good. Moving too fast already. Tomorrow's Sunday. Well, technically today is Sunday. All right. That back here. Arya Gupta. What's up? What's up? Marcus. What's up, Ethan Stad and Arya? How's it going, guys? So right now, I have a print on the Uniformation GK1, which I need to take a look at and see if we need to remove that. If we do, we have to remove it. It should be done. Hopefully it is. Running low on gloves. Give me We have to grab a box from upstairs. What is this print? So I mean, you can probably see the Dragon Ball Z on it. But basically, it is a print from Cults 3D. Um, I forgot who made it. I want to say his name's on the bottom of the base, though. It's like Julio Perez or something like that. And he created a Dragon Ball Z statue, but it's like a samurai statue. And that's why you see that labeled katana right there, because that's a katana. Now, I know this is, a little overkill with the supports, but these supports remove very, very easily. So, um, what 3D printer do I have? Well, the thing is what 3D printer do I not have? So, this one that I'm working on right now is going on specifically the Uniformation GK1. It is a newer printer on the market. Currently, it is not restocked on Amazon right now, but we're finishing up our review on that. And basically, it's probably going to be my best printer that I can um, pass off to people in terms of price, size, and just the uniqueness of it. If you guys do or do not know who I am, I mostly boast about my Weebox Lite 130, and it has been a tried and true machine for the past 3 years I've had it. I've replaced one screen. Yes, it's an RGB screen I've replaced. And I think a total of 2 FEPs so far on it. I just changed the second one recently. And it's been a workhorse. And this is basically a large version of it. The downfall of it is it's got a perforated build plate. I'm not a big fan of them, but they do work very, very well when you need them to. And they provide quite a bit of suction to your print. So that's basically what we're using right now. I'm gonna grab a print off of there right now. That's basically the other half of the print that I just showed you guys, and we're gonna get it cleaned up, and then the print that I just showed you, we're gonna set it up and get it going on this machine. That'll take about 10 hours, it says, to print. So it's roughly close. It says 10 hours and 19 minutes for this to print. So it's probably going to be around like 11 and 15 minutes. It's about an hour or so off, give or take, what I'm printing. So, but yeah, in terms of printers, I have a Sonic Mega 8K. Right now, I have a Nova Elephant, or I'm sorry, a Nova Whale 2, which has got to go back to the factory. Once we're done, we're doing our review. Calent S400, the Uniformation GK1, Creality Hellet Sky, which that's Creality's best machine. I haven't tried out the Max yet, but that's pretty good. Second close would be the Creality Hellet Light. Right? Yes, Hellet Light. Sorry, I had to think there for a second. Behind the Calent, you can't see it, is the Sonic Mini 4K. Then we have the Sonic Mini 8K, the Weebox Lite 130, which I was talking about. And right behind that is the Sonic Mighty 4K. Then we have the Sonic Mega 8K. We have the longer orange 4K, which is right below the desk here. We also have a Kingaroon KP6 that is on the other side of the desk. And then I have a whole slew of printers right here that are mostly FDM. There's one resin printer in there and about 12 or 13 FDM printers, various shapes, sizes, types, what have you. So those are all review machines. And there's still one or two in the back there that I need to grab. But yeah, I'm quite backlogged, quite a bit. So trying to get prints and everything done is proving to be hard. So I'm gonna wait for this to cure. I'm gonna throw the rest of this stuff on here. You guys probably can't see it. But basically, there's you know, a good amount of D-pads that are here, and sorry for the loud noise. There's a good amount of D-pads here that we got to put on and make sure that they are all set to go, and that's pretty much it. Then we can get printing here, so I can go ahead and remove some supports and whatnot. So let's make sure these are good. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of working a little bit and then chit-chatting with you guys. And, you guys can ask questions pretty freely on here, as long as it's, 3D printing related. I don't really care to, answer any political questions or anything like that. But if you absolutely need an answer for it, I can give you one. But not saying I'm going to be right, or even a religious one. So that's toast. That's pretty toast. All right. Have you modified your Sonic Mini 8K? In what way? I do have a speed profile, which there is a print on there using the speed profile. So this print was 2 hours and 42 minutes. And I don't know, I want to say it's maybe like 30 millimeters tall, give or take. So I do have my Sonic Mega profile, my speed profile for this set up on my Mini, and it's been running perfectly fine. So I'm going to keep it. I got to check this print and make sure that everything's good, but I think we're okay. That did print. That's awesome. What about slicers? Guess there are same amount of slicers as you have resin 3D printers out there. Which one is doing the best job on connecting every part of a print, like spots not supported to the base, like small white spots when checking the layer by layer manually? I'll be honest, I don't really check the layer by layer manually. I've been doing this long enough to where I can kind of tell, like, if I'm printing something like this, obviously these are arms, so you want to have them supported pretty well. And I tend to just slightly over support them a little bit. So I don't really use the whole, like, I'm gonna go down piece by piece to see how each and everything is layered. And I stopped using the island detection system with UV tools. I haven't used that in a while. And I've only touched on that a little bit. So, but that's just my personal preference. If you're new into resin printing, UV tools is a great piece of product to have. And it's not really a product; it's just more or less like a helper. And it has some great things to help out new people who just don't quite grasp the concept of, like, you can't just set a print and let it go and just think that auto supports are going to do everything. Absolutely 100%. I try to stay away from auto supports as much as I possibly can. And even if I do use auto supports, I'm usually manually adding in extra supports because I know, like, okay, the auto supports are only generated at a certain angle. So if I have a print that's 50 uh, degrees of an angle, my auto supports might only support up to 45%, where I know this tip, it might come out, but I'm going to be worried about that sagging issue to where it'll probably print just fine, but it'll, like, warp a little bit because there's no support on it. So I tend to, add some extra supports on that. In terms of slicers, they all have their own extra added qualities to it. Shitu box I pretty much mostly use, and that's just because I'm grandfathered into that. I've been using that since, I pretty much started resin printing. But there's also another program, like Lychee, that's pretty good. I touched a little bit on it here and there, but personally, just the way that everything is grouped together, it's not it's not as smooth transition as Shitu box is for me. Now, again, other people who may start using Lychee right out of the gate, they might have a better time over Shitu box. It's the same type of thing. So, you just gotta choose which one you want to go with. Now, for this specific machine that I'm doing work on, it has its own proprietary slicer that is based off of the Prusa Slicer. Basically, a fork of it. And the support setup and structure and everything is good to go 100% of the time. It's very, very rare that I have a failure. And if I do, it's because I mess something up. Case in point, um, I have their standard gray resin that came with the printer, and I swapped out for some Monocular clear. I set up a profile on the slicer to tune it and everything, got it tuned, and it turns out, it's a second faster printing the clear resin than it is the gray. Obviously, because gray is a pigment, so it takes a little more time to shine the light through. So, with that being said, I set up the profile, then I cleaned out the Monocular clear, swapped back to gray, and I set a print on it, not thinking about changing the profile back to the stock profile that comes with the gray resin that came with the printer. And I ended up using the Monocular clear profile. Obviously, it's a whole second different. So it did end up printing, but it failed fantastically when it started gaining some weight on the print. It just basically was like, I'm gonna try and still print this, but it's not working, and half of his torso basically came apart. So you gotta tune everything. Everybody's gonna have their own likeness with slicers. I can't say, hey, this is a great slicer, use this one. This is the only one you need to use. Because again, each and every one has their own separate things on it. Shitu box, I use the pro version and it's got a lot of additive stuff in it. So, like, you can make some really cool things like this, where you can make like a hollow sculpt. I still gotta, sand this down a little bit. But basically, you can put a print inside of a print, and it looks like those acrylic cases. So that's really, really cool to do. And that's just, one of many things that it does. And then there's also tons of different supports that you can use for it. So I truly like Shitubox. Now, Lychee has a nice setup where it's got a lot of supported printers on it. Case in point, the Nova Whale that I'm using, that is automatically supported on Lychee. It is not automatically supported on Shitubox. I actually have to add in a plugin, get it all set up, and make sure that it's going okay. The same thing can be said for the longer orange models, the longer orange 10, longer orange 30, and the longer orange 4K. They have their own specific files that they export, and on Shitubox, you have to add a plugin for that. With Lychee, it's just automatic. So that's where they kind of reign supreme, is that they have a lot of supported printers that you don't have to do any extra work. You just choose the printer, go in there, and then set up and start tuning your profile. So yeah, that's probably the better one for that. Now the Prusa Slicer, the fork of it, the thing that this reigns supreme on is supports. Um, Even though this print looks ridiculous with all these supports, and I'll show you guys. So this print has a lot of supports on it. Okay, this is probably way overkill, but we're going to let it slide. And the reason for that is these supports are actually very, very thin, and they're very, very breakawayable. So when I pull it out of there, it's just going to peel off with no problem. Now there will be some pitting on some of the surfaces here and there, so we'll have to do some post processing if absolutely needed. But for the most part, it won't be much. So like all this stuff, I will literally be able to just take my finger and go down the line and literally just brush it away. Like that's how easy it is to remove those supports. So that's really, really easy to do. I really like this slicer because it has that support structure set up and it's already tuned. So no matter how heavy the print is, how big it is, how long it is, what it's orientated at, it's going to print it because of the supports. So what about Captain Tape or change FEP for NFEP? Well, as far as I know, the Mini 8K has NFEP already installed on it. As for the Kapton tape, there's absolutely no need for me to remove the tape that surrounds it to replace it with Kapton tape. There's no reason for that. Kapton tape is not going to better my printing experience in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to be better than the pre-cut taped area that's on there. So there's no reason for me to remove that. I don't know why people do that, but hey, to each their own. Everybody has their own little thing. That's why, see, you have people that are like, hey, use this stuff on your FEP film to make your prints release. Don't use this ever. There's absolutely no need. Just tune your profile and it'll print. Okay, that'll do more damage to your resin than it will anything else. It will not adhere to FEP film. FEP film is a non-stick and it is chemical resistant, so nothing will stay on that FEP film. So, what is your big printer printing out? That's this one right here. That is the Frozen Sonic Mega. It comes in at 330 by 185 by 400 millimeters. So that's a pretty big boy. The biggest print to date on that one was a giant Broly action figure that I printed out for a coworker. And it came in about 550 millimeters tall and about 350 millimeters wide when it was all said and done. Because he's kind of like this, he's stretching out. So I usually detect islands in Shitubox, then delete them since they're just be floaties anyway. Exactly, and that's just I guess it just kind of comes with my years of experience that I've been doing this for a long time, so it's like trying to support things and figure out where they need to be supported. I'm pretty good with that. Now, I'm not saying I get it right every single time. That's not the case. But I would say 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get it right. So, what's up, David? How's it going? Loving those hollow sculpts. Oh, yeah, yeah. So that one was actually really, really cool. So what's up, Vince? How's it going? Any luck with those lenses? Are you talking about this lens? Because if so, I will pop it out right now and get it to you. If that's what you were referring to. I'm trying to get all my stuff done. I still have stuff that I need to ship out that I was supposed to do today. I haven't had a chance to. What's up, Aqua Warrior? How's it going, man? All right, so now that this is all done, let's get this off of the build plate. Make sure that these are all good. And then we can start working on other stuff. Probably should have cleaned that up a little bit better. But it's just a showpiece. We have, if any of you guys watch Inuyasha, you have little tiny Nala that was printed on the Sonic Mini 8K. So, yeah, the GPI 1 and 2. The 2 is going to be kind of hard, but I'll let you know because I don't want to. I haven't even touched my GPI 2. I was waiting for a Xeon 4 to come in, and it finally came in, and I just haven't had time to sit down and do anything. So again, I'm kind of playing catch up here. So I am moving Tuesday, so I'm going to be busy myself. Understand? Yeah. So that's little. Did I say Nala? I think that's who it is. Nala? Kiara. I said Nala. It's not Nala. It's not Lion King. It's Kiara. So yeah, we're basically going to go through these, make sure they're all good, because like I said, when I sliced these, I knew that the FET film was bad, but I was like, you know what? I need to print some, and we'll just deal with the After Effects when we're done. Oh yeah. Let's see here. Great, thank you. Do you recommend a screen protector for the Mini 8K, or it affects a lot of the quality of the prints? I mean, doesn't work to have a protected. Yeah, so I'll be honest. None of my screens have protectors on. I just kind of wing it. But again, I've been doing this for a long time. I have, specific tools to help me out with that. And even if I don't, well, then I just take the loss. The only one that I will end up ever having a screen protector on is this one, and that's only because a replacement screen is about $400 for that, and that's a pretty penny to dip into. Um, but I'm not too worried about it. Like if it dies, it dies. I'll just let it be for a little bit, and eventually I'll get a replacement. But if I ever happen to replace it, that's basically when I will go ahead and order new FAP. I will order a screen protector. And in fact, I actually even have a screen protector here. But as for the Mini 8K, there will be one coming out very, very soon. I'm working with somebody right now. I mean, you guys know him. His name is Mach 5, and he pretty much makes screen protectors for most of them. And I have a template actually of one that he sent me. Got to do some fine adjustments on it, send him some new measurements. He's going to send me another one just to make sure. And then basically it'll go into production. So hopefully sometime next month, you guys will see a production screen protector from Mach 5 on this printer. So the same thing we did with the Sonic Mega. That's basically why there's a screen protector from Mach 5 for the Sonic Mega, is because, well, I did some measurements and I have all of the prototype screen protectors, which are kind of funny. But hey, as long as we got it out to you guys, I'm fine with that. And I know, some of you guys are probably saying, oh, well, why didn't you say, that you helped out? Well, I don't really care to take credit for it. So I'm just helping out the community. As long as we can get a product out there that everybody likes and everybody can actually use and be helpful, then so be it. But for the most part, I could really care less about the fortune and fame behind it. So I do. I make a living by myself. I don't need anything like that. So all right. So now that that's all done, let's get this up off the bill plate. What's up, David? How's it going, man? Hmm, that actually gives me an idea. I have to print something on the Nova, and maybe I'll throw one of your prints on there. I'm trying, as I was saying earlier, I'm trying to play catch up with everything. And like, I bought a bunch of models from like you and Daniel Thredson and a bunch of stuff from Cults 3D, and I'm like, I have all these models. I finally paid for models. I need to start printing them, and so that's what I'm gonna start doing because also I need to do and I need to finish up reviews for these printers as well. So, I think we got a failure on this. We have some failures, and this is probably due to because it's still cold in my basement. But yeah, those failed epically. Um, yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. All right, so we got some of the prints off, but yeah, we're definitely gonna have to turn the heater back on here because obviously it's too cold down here. I have it set temperature wise. Yeah, it's only 65 degrees down here. Downfalls of bigger resin printers and cold. So basically, resin has a viscosity rating. Okay, now I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I technically have no idea what I'm talking about here, but the gist of it is what I'm trying to get across. So take it with a grain of salt. Do a little bit of research just to confirm, but this is my thought process on it. Is resin requires a certain temperature to print with, and that's because of the chemicals that are in it. They make it very viscous. So if you have like specialty resins, engineering resins, this is a really, really big thing as well because those are usually very, very heavily viscous. Um, and they require a certain printing temperature to print with. So like this has a failed print on it. You guys might be able to see. And that's basically because, well, I forgot to plug in my heater. And yeah. So here's the plug to regulate it, and here's the plug for the heater. So I set it to print, and it failed epically because first off, it's a heavy print. Secondly, this especially has such a large vat. It's about 3 times the size as any of these medium printers vats, and so when the resin sits in it, it cools down quite a lot. And to heat it up, you need a consistent temperature in there. So I have it set to 85 degrees, and it's reading 65 right now. So that's a 30-degree difference. No, 20-degree difference. It's okay. I can math. But a lot of resins you'll see on the bottles. Let's see if we can have it on here. I know some of these do, some of them don't. That one doesn't. Yeah, some of them don't. I guess a lot of them don't. They used to. Oh, there we go. Operating environment 20 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is roughly what, around 70 degrees ish. I'm not. I don't know what the that is. So let's see. Celsius to Fahrenheit. So let's see. 20 degrees Fahrenheit is 68 degrees. So any that's quite a huge gap there. So it says anywhere between 68 degrees Fahrenheit and 83 degrees basically Fahrenheit. So that's a huge gap of printing area. But usually when you go onto the lower side, it's usually pretty bad. What most manufacturers that I've talked to recommend is about 23 degrees Celsius or 73 degrees Fahrenheit to print properly. Anything below that, they've usually seen that it's pretty bad. And obviously, I left that thing off because I was like, hey, it's pretty good right now. But with the temperatures dropping and raising, obviously that didn't work out for me. So yeah, that resin definitely needs to be heated up. So I have the heater on. I have a little tower fan that's probably about this tall, like 3 feet tall or so, and I'll uh, I'll put that on there and see if it'll work and go from there. But yeah, that's the issue that we have. So when I go to re-pour that bottle of resin that's in here, this is pretty cool to the touch actually. So I'll probably run this in some hot water. I'll put it in a bucket and leave it in some hot water to warm up, and that way that'll at least get it up to the operating temperature that I need it. And then this little miniature heater will keep it at a specific temperature. May not be the optimal temperature, but it'll be close to it or a little bit above it, maybe. So, yeah. Um, let's see here. Hi, have you had the chance to see or use the Ender 3 S1? If so, what are your thoughts? I'll be honest, it's an Ender 3, so it's not on my list to even think about doing a review. But in all complete honesty, I've noticed a lot that Creality has shifted focus from making their own machines to contracting out to companies that make machines. Um, an easy one to spot is the Anycubic Viper and the Ender, what is it, Ender 6 SE? Or CR6 SE, sorry. The Creality CR6 SE, they're literally the same exact machines. But the Viper's much better. It has a better hot end, it has a little bit better extruder, and it's got a PEI flex sheet, textured PEI flex sheet, which I absolutely love. So I ended up giving away my CR6 SE to my buddy, and I kept the Viper because it was just slightly better. But the machines themselves, the basics of them, are identical. Um, they have the same type of frame rail setups, same LCD control panels, lead screw, motors, what have you. They're all manufactured by the same company. The same can be said with the Creality Ender 3 S1. It's literally the Mingda Magician X or the Focus Odin F5. It's all manufactured by the same company now. And you kind of see that. Like, you can just look at them and tell right away this is manufactured by one type of company because they all look the same. They just have their slight changes to make them different, but like they're all the same. They all have the same type of setups. So you tend to see that very quickly. So the S1 is nothing new. The only downside is it has a Creality board in it, and Creality boards are not that great. They're engineered with the lowest possible quality. Their QC is just absolute trash, um, and they just haven't gotten better. Like, the more technology that they put in their printers, the worse they become. And you can pretty much ask or just go on to any group and see that right away. So for me, the only Creality machines that I will probably ever possess are resin printers. And again, that's contracted out to another company called Pionext. And that's why their resin printers have severely stepped up their game. or exponentially, whatever you want to use. That's why they are above anybody else in terms of resin printers for manufacturers, because they contracted out to a dental resin printer company to make a cheaper resin printer. And well, you got the Hallett Sky, the Hallett Max, the Hallett Light, the Hallett One. All those are made by a completely different manufacturer, including the resin. The same thing can be said for Creality's filament. As most people know, most of the filament that comes out of China is rebranded eSun. There's different grades, obviously. Like eSun, obviously, is A grade. That goes with like Hatchbox, Amazon Basics. Yes, those are all eSun brands. Then you have Sunlu, you have JO, 3D Warhorse. That's like B brand. Then you have the C and D brands, which are just like no names, the stuff you've never even heard of or not even really branded. Those are like just like the scraps, the garbage, basically. So they'll all still print, but some of them might have more issues than others. So, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it. The S1, for a little bit more money, go and grab yourself the Mingda Magician X. One of the cool things about this printer is it's got a far superior board in it, and it has the ability to use a USB drive, which for me, that's great because I do resin printing. All these printers come with a USB drive, so I can easily use that. I have tons of them around, so I can just throw it in there. Or if you want, you can use an SD card. That's fine. You don't have to. But basically, it looks just like the Focus Odin F5. It's just got auto leveling. It's got that's basically a copy off of it. So, yeah. Oh, and that's another thing that I absolutely cannot stand about those printers. Those CR touches are absolute trash. BL Touch in general, I have a bad history with. I first got into resin. I first got into 3D printing a long time ago, and my Ender 3 was a disaster. So I went out and I bought a BL Touch, and it worked for about a week. And then something went haywire where it probed during a 70-hour print, and basically destroyed the print, destroyed the hot end, destroyed the BL Touch, and everything. Then I found another company called TH3D Studio, and they have a probe called EZABL. EZABL, all letters. And it's a sensitive probe, capacitive or proximity sensor. And it works on all beds. It works in all temperatures and everything. And I love their product so much. I asked the owner if he needed help, and I basically started working for the company. And I soldered most of those kits for a good portion of the time. So that was kind of cool. And then we parted ways, but I still talk to the owner and everything. And one of these days I'll go up there and see them. But yeah, that's a great uh, auto bed leveling system that they have. Plus, they also provide firmware for the community that is custom and super easy to set up. Even me, who has no idea what he's doing in computer, software type stuff like that, like the Arduino, it was super simple to set up. And then also with the CR Touch, I mean, just look at Creality's history with the BL Touch or CR Touch type uh, setups. Case in point, the Ender 5 Pro, or I'm sorry, Plus, which, some people have good experiences with. Most of them have terrible experiences with. So, yeah, I would definitely steer away from that printer just because of that. But, if you like that, by all means, go ahead and have at it. But the Mingda Magician X doesn't have any touch probe or anything. And that's the other thing to literally touch on that is the CR Touch, the BL Touch, those probes actually have to be replaced at some point in time. They will fail. And back when I was using BL Touch, they were actually good BL Touches. They had a metal probe on them. They never broke. They were almost indestructible until it probed and yeah, took everything with it. But yeah, basically, I just steered away from those. So, oh, you were with him? Cool. Let's see here. What's up, Matt? How's it going? What design software you use? I am trying. So I am still a super noob in terms of designing. So I use Tinkercad. Now I'd like to shift into other ones. I've touched a little bit on like Fusion, Idea Maker. There's one in Microsoft, like 3D Builder or something that somebody suggested, and they're like, yeah, it's super easy, and it was just kind of a little confusing on the controls and everything. So at some point, when I get some more free time, I'm going to go ahead and try and get my hands into a better one. But as of right now, I'm just going to stick with Tinkercad. That works for what I need right now. So I have something multi-piecing design. Yeah, that's kind of above and beyond my ability. But yeah, you can send me a link. I can take a look at it, but I don't know how well I'm gonna help you out with that, Matt. But hey, we're worth a shot. What to do with the failed prints? In FDM, you can melt them into a solid block, PLA or ABS for a milling machine. But what with a resin fail prints? Can they be melted into a similar usage or just glue them together into a piece of art? So sometimes, like this part, basically is hacked in half. You can see it's literally hacked in half. So I will actually use that as a failed print remove. So I'll take this off of the build plate, I'll stick it down into the vat, and I'll do a vat clean function, and I'll pull it right up. And that basically what'll happen. But with resin, now I haven't tried this with anything in a long time, but resin you can't melt. They are very, very hard to just like melt down like PLA plastic. So that's another cool thing. And I can kind of show you guys, like I have some of the failed prints. To see if I got I don't know if I got a lighter down here or not. I used to have my torch, but I think my wife stole it. Oh, I do have a lighter. So all right, with PLA, you can easily just take this lighter and melt it down, right? So here, let's grab this. Okay. We'll do an experiment on live. Okay. So I have a failed print. Okay. You can kind of see there's holes in it. It's just not good. It'll work, but I just don't like to sell them like that. So let's go ahead and try and melt this. Yeah, that's not really melting now, is it? Melted a little bit, but it takes a while. So as you can see, not much has really changed with it. So it's kind of hard. You can't just like easily melt it down. It takes a while. Now, granted, this is going to change from resin to resin. Like this is just some cheap resin that I have. And maybe with a rigid resin, that might not work. Who knows? Because the properties are going to be so vastly different on it that it might not. So that's one of the other cool things about resin printing versus PLA printing is while resin is a little bit more expensive in terms of what you can print and like your the amount that you can print versus your pricing. Obviously PLA is going to win by a milestone because you can print quite a bit more on PLA. But the thing is if I were to print a phone mount for my car, I can't just print that in PLA and throw it in my car, especially in the summertime. It's not going to work very well, and probably won't work very well if it comes during the winter time, because with winter getting so cold here, it might just shatter into pieces. I don't know. With resin, it pretty much holds its form. Now, I'm not saying it's like ABS, but it's probably a little bit above. I'd put it between PETG and ABS, just a little bit between there. Now, I haven't, again, tested it out in a car setting. That is on my list to do, when summertime comes around here. But I know that I have had prints in my car, and they come out perfectly fine. So I don't see it. I don't see it being an issue. Now, again, that's a completely different formulation. So I have another one here. Let's start this one on fire, because this is the same manufacturer but a different formulation with black. So it could also be inks and stuff like that make it, basically catch on fire. So, but as you can see, it's kind of holding its shape. It's a circular D-pad. That's it. So it just kind of charred it. It didn't really do much. Now, granted, I didn't have it on there long amounts, but it didn't really do anything. It didn't warp it in any way, shape, or form. You can see it's still flat. It's printed directly on the build plate. It just kind of charred it a little bit. That's it. But it didn't really do anything. That's it. So that's one of the cool things about resin printing, is that, oh, my hands are all charred. Is that they do hold up temperature a lot better than PLA. So thanks, Matt, to show the fire experiment. Don't set the place on fire. No, where I have this camera, there's actually a fan right there, so I can literally have it just blow right out if I move it just a little bit closer. So it's all right. And then on top of it, there's fans off to the right there as well that are taking up anything that has any type of smoke, or it's an inlet basically. So yeah. So I mean, I can try some other things, but I don't really have anything else that's of a failed quality that I can utilize to show you guys. But yeah, I mean, for anybody wondering about resin and how it holds up, that's one of the things. Now, granted, the downside of resin is that it can shatter. So whereas PLA kind of breaks or cracks, resin, if you drop it, it shatters. But there's things around that, like you can have some flexible additives in it that'll basically eliminate that 100%. Now, again, you're changing the properties, so I don't know how that works. Are you trading off flexibility and less brittleness for heat? Or do you still get the heat and you just gain? So that's something I got to check out. I can technically start my lithophane on fire, but I don't want to do that because that's kind of a cool lithophane. I printed it in a flexible filament, a flexible resin. So that's another thing, going back to the whole resin cracks or shatters, really. Well, some resins do. This is a model resin. Okay, it's specifically designed for miniatures, things of this nature, and it is perfect for it. And the reason being is, this is a lithophane of Vigo from Ghostbusters 2. Now, when I was printing this, I had no idea that it was a flexible resin or a model resin. I didn't read the label. I just set it to print and go once I had it tuned in. And then after I had it printed, the guy who gave it to me was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know the reason why it's flexing a little bit, because, it basically looked like this when it came off the build plate. And I'm like, why is it warping? Like, everything should be good. He's like, that's because it's got a little bit of flex added into it. And I was like, oh, well, that would explain why it's kind of warping. So if I set it like this, will literally droop down. But one of the cool things is, this is a pretty big resin print. Yes, this is resin. This is not FDM. Okay. I can go ahead and flex this. And it's pretty hard to flex at this point. Like, I'm using a lot of strength to flex this. And it's not breaking, it's not cracking or anything like that. So, and what's cool is it'll just go back to shape. It'll take a little while, but it'll set it back right into it. So it's kind of weird to set this up because there's no good way to set it because it literally just falls over. So I just kind of have it hanging around here to show off that, resin has some cool properties over FDM. And that's one of the ones is you don't have to really change much. You just do your exposure settings and that's it. That's all you need for resin prints. Whereas like an FDM printer, if you wanted to print in PETG, well, you need to print a little bit hotter. You need to get an Capricorn tubing or a tough tube from TH3D, because the white one will eventually break down after printing at that high temperature. Um, the hot ends might need to, have a titanium heat break to allow it to smoother print. If you're printing TPU, you might need a direct drive setup because it just makes it a lot easier. Now, I print perfectly fine TPU in a Bowden setup, but I'm also using the Anycubic Viper, which has a Volcano hot end, so it just dumps it out and has no problems with it. So, but there's things like that. And then, if you wanted to go to ABS, well, ABS, it has an issue because, well, you kind of need to have an enclosure for ABS or PC or nylon or anything like that. Whereas resin, you can get nylon resins. They cost quite a lot of money. They are probably 4 times as much as an FDM, but you don't have to go out and upgrade your machine ridiculously to print nylon. You can basically keep a $100 resin printer and just go out and buy an expensive bottle of resin, nylon resin, and go ahead and print. All you have to do is just dial in your exposure settings. So yeah, so that's kind of cool about that is that you can print really anything you want. And then the other thing is you can print any type of color you want on the fly. So if I specifically stock white resin and I have a pigment color set, and you can probably use anything that is, I believe it's alcohol based uh, dyes, you can use and make any colors you want. Just like I did on the Wii box here, I made a different color from skin color. So originally, the resin that I had in there was this color. It was skin, basically, you know, skin color. All right. So I'm a little more tan in it, but basically all I did was add in magenta coloring and I got that. And I can do that with white. I can do that with any color. Ugh. I hear the wifey is home. So yeah. What's up, Vincent? I'll be right back. That's Alrighty. Just start working again on a Sunday. Wow, that stinks. So yeah, let's go ahead and remove this plate. And I don't know if I want to start up this new plate or try and reprint this old one. I think I'll try and reprint this old one. So, but some of this stuff is salvageable. So maybe we'll just let this ride. Maybe we'll just redo with what we, I don't know, there's a lot more. Can even feel that it's cold. This plate is freezing cold. Yeah, this all lifted up. Dang it. Can't even use the hands. I think one of these prints is good. And that's it. Dang. Oh well. It happens. So basically we're going to remove this banners. Let's hide this. Let's go that. What am I making? I am printing off a Dragon Ball Z like Shogun or Samurai setup. And so I'm removing the first part of it, which failed epically because my basement is too cold and I forgot to put on my heater. And yeah, basically totally my fault. So the resin separated a little bit and that was the end of it. So yeah. So I just basically wasted, probably $20 worth of resin. It happens. Sheesh, happens. Oh man. And this is what happens when it gets too cold. Layers, 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 layers. Oh wow, that is so biscuits. So yeah, it does really suck, and it's something I've been struggling with for a little bit now, and I'm trying to figure out a remedy because last year I didn't have this problem, and that's mostly because I had one medium-sized printer back then. Well, now I pretty much all have medium-sized printers. Like I got a couple small ones here, but for the most part, I use my medium or larger printers, and that's the issue. Same thing I had with this. That's why there's a failure on this print because I forgot to plug in my heater for this. So yeah, that was totally my fault. So anyway, um, uh, All right. It's a good thing because I need to add some more resin to that. Just wondering about the file type, if we still will be able to keep the STL OBJ 3MF type, as the details will go up on those AK printers. So as of right now, no. They use a .ctb file, at least for this printer and this printer, and that is specifically because they utilize a Shitu board on that. Now, to keep those files specifically, you need a printer that has more power, more processing power. And a lot of times people aren't going to shell out the money for those because they are really, really expensive, like $1,000 range. So, I mean, this printer, when it's all said and done, is about $800 probably shipped to you right now, just because of the whole shipping fiasco right now with China and exporting, and it's a bad time to have anything exported from or imported from China, and exported out of China. So, so that's one of the big issues that everybody faces right now, is the supply and demand type thing is insanely high. So anyway, I do have, a couple printers that will utilize those OBJ, or at least I had. I don't actually have any right now. I used to have one that utilizes OBJ. Like the WeBox would print an OBJ, but it'll still slice it into its own file. But you can put the OBJ or STL on directly on the printer, and it'll do everything for you. So it will maintain a little bit better quality, but yeah, for the most part, you're going to lose it no matter what. So, and that's one of the things that I struggle with talking to people about, the differences between a 720, a 1080, a 2K, a 4K, 6K, 5K, 8K, 20K. There gets to be a point where the naked eye is not going to utilize seeing those details. Now, in pictures, yes, absolutely. If you are good at taking pictures and know how to do all that stuff, then yes, you will definitely see the differences in, if you're using a macro lens, you will definitely see that type of stuff. And that's one of the arguments that I consistently have with people, is like, everybody's like, oh my God, it's an 8K printer. Yeah, that's great. But when it comes down to it, if you're just printing it and you're not showing anything off on a camera, you're not going to notice the difference between an 8K, a 6K, a 5K, a 4K, a 2K, a 1K. You're not going to notice the difference. You can tell me till you're blue in the face. The naked eye only sees so much. Like, in my opinion, the naked eye only sees about 1080p. That's it. Anything above that, you're probably not going to notice a major difference. You'll see different colorings and things like that. Trickery to think that you're seeing a better quality picture. But for the most part, you're probably not. That's just my 2 cents on that. Again, that's just my thought process on that. But it seems to be that I'm not alone on that. People who, truly print and understand printing details and things like that, you're not going to see the details, the different details between any of the printers that are here in a everyday situation. So, and most of the time people paint that stuff. So it's like those details are probably going to even get lost when you start painting it. So it's kind of a moot point. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, yes, it can probably utilize those details, but again, you're not going to truly see them unless you have something special behind it. So, I don't truly suggest an Ender 3, but that's just my personal opinion. I've had terrible experiences with about 50 of them throughout my printing experience. So, but that's just me. A lot of people know that I have a hatred for them. They are great printers if you're okay with messing around with stuff. And there's a fantastic community behind it, but there's a lot of problems that I see where people buy really cheap parts because they just buy stuff from Amazon, or they buy the Creality branded stuff, which is even worse. I'd rather you get the cheap Chinese knockoffs from Amazon than I do the actual Creality ones. You probably get a better product, in all honesty. Um, but that's an issue that I see consistently with that. And then there's just better printers out there for around the same price. You have the Voxelab Aquila X2. That is a great printer. The G-Tech A10, which is my personal favorite. Now, they're a little bit older, and they do have a new printer coming out, or they have one that came out. That's probably a little bit better. But that was always my go-to after the Ender 3 fiasco. And then there's also the Elegoo Neptune 2. And again, these are all based off of the Ender 3 platform, and they have their own little tweaks here and there. So they are all cheap Chinese knockoffs. Yeah, that's very true. In a sense, they are all cheap Chinese knockoffs. But Creality tends to utilize the cheapest of the cheap. Like, bottom of the barrel, we're going to do this. So much so, in fact, I've gotten word that the Ender 3 V2s, I think it was that, yeah, the Ender 3 V2s were supposed to come with like a 4.2.2 board, and word has it they're basically taking the version 4.1.3 boards and like updating the chips on them because they just can't manufacture the stuff fast enough, and that has to do with like the chip shortage. But that's typical Creality, changing things without telling anybody and making a disaster. Because if you're somebody who wants to put a custom firmware, which you definitely should, especially on a Creality machine, you should definitely put a custom firmware on there of your choice. Again, my preference is TH3D unified firmware, but there's like Gyres and a handful of other ones that are out there that people can use, and it'll give you more options. But that's another thing where if you go and flash a firmware thinking that you have a 4.2.2 board and you end up actually having a 4.1.3 board, guess what? You're probably going to end up bricking that board, and you're going to just have a big paperweight. So, but that's for people who actually, do that. I personally do not, because I use resin printers. Such a horrible failure. What's up, Mr. Yardy? 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 You heard it. Dang, that was a really cool print, but that's all warped to hell, damn it. That would have been really, really cool, that flag. But I can't use it because it's not right. So, I'm looking into something cheap to start to see if I want to ready get into this. So the reason why I suggested the other ones over the Ender 3 and even any Ender 3 line, I um, that's awesome. Anyway, the lost my train of thought. Oh, the reason why I suggested the other ones is the other printers are more assembled than the Ender 3 right out of the box. Specifically the upright, which is what a lot of people have a hard time with. And a lot of times the Ender 3 has a warped frame. So putting on the upright and piecing it together is really a feat in itself. And if you don't have a leveled or flat surface, you're going to have a bad day. So that's why I suggest like the Voxel Lab, the G-Tech, or the Elegoo, because those have a put together upright that basically it's like 6 bolts and you're done, whereas the Ender is like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like 12, 10 to 12 bolts. So yeah, it's double, but it's already half put together. So you have your base, you have your upright, you put it together, 4 bolts, and then 2 bolts for the screen, and that's it. Oh, and then probably a power supply. So yeah, anywhere between 6 to 8 or 10 to 12 for an Ender 3. It might even be 14 for an Ender 3, but the upside to that is that it's already put together for the most part. Like the hardest thing is putting together that upright, in my opinion, for a lot of people. I see so many people struggle with that on an Ender 3, and you can just basically spend either a little bit more money or maybe you get a good deal and get a Voxel Lab Prox Aquila X2 or an Elegoo Neptune 2 or a G-Tech A10, and you save yourself a lot of hassle. Like for the extra 20 bucks or 30 bucks, in my opinion, it's worth the less hassle. So again, that's my 2 cents on that. You can take it with a grain of salt and go from there. But you know, I've been 3D printing for about what 4 years now, 3 years, 4 years, yeah, about 3 years. So, and that's just me knowing what I'm doing in a sense, and working with Ender 3s in the past. So this one might actually be semi-salvageable. But we're still going to reprint it. So, oh boy, they flagged my video or something happened to it. It's probably my internet because, you know, my internet loves to drop out even though I upgraded it. Because, you know, Crapcast is just phenomenal like that. So, I love removing supports. It's great. Well, that's entirely up to you. Like, if you wanna actually tinker around with something, it's totally worth getting into 3D printing because you can do a lot of stuff with it. And even if you learn Tinkercad, like that is something awesome. So I personally use resin printers because of things like this. This is super high detail, and I can just remove supports like they're nothing. Trying to do this without breaking anything with my meat hooks, because this is just standard resin, and I can easily break this in half, I bet. Ah, there we go. Supports. There you go. It's pretty much most of it. And for those of you watching, this did come off of the Sonic Mini 8K. So obviously we still need to do some cleanup on him, but for the most part, he's ready to rock and roll. Waiting for some washing. So yeah, we'll take these off since we're all done with that. Dealing with resin. Take that. Put that back on. Yeah, that's still not warm. Warm that up a little bit more. All right. Something went wrong. Oh, that might be my video, Yurdi, that I took down. Yeah, I actually took that video down, Yurdi. I was requested by the company to remove that because there was something in there that I wasn't supposed to show off. Whoops. So, and I completely blanked on it. So, yeah, that's why that TikTok video was removed. So, uh, let's see. Yeah, then again, if it's just cheaper, if I get someone else to just print. Yeah, that's really a tough thing to decide on. And I see a lot of people, think about that. Like, do I really want to get into 3D printing? Because there is a lot of a learning curve to it. Not terrible, but if you spend, maybe about $250, $300, you can get yourself into a good spot um, to get into printing, be it resin printing or FDM printing. And for the most part, a lot of your woes are going to go away. Where a lot of people have issues is, when they have printers that are less than $250. That's basically where a lot of the issues lie with a lot of those printers. Is once you start getting up there, then things change. And it's kind of just like buying a car. You have your base model, you have your luxury model, you have your sport model, you have your fully loaded model, and then you have like the specialty models and things like that. That's basically the same thing you deal with FDM printers and even resin printers. Is obviously everybody has a budget, and the problem is a lot of people get into here thinking that a budget's going to get them somewhere, and some of the times that works, but most of the time it doesn't. So that's where I have a group specifically set up for that called 3D Printing for Noobs. And we basically help people get into 3D printing and help them with their problems. Now, I've been kind of hands off for about a year. Um, I still check in every once in a while, but for the most part, answering people or helping people out, it's a rare occurrence for me. I do offer, like a one-on-one help if they absolutely need to. But that all depends on how how drastic the situation is. If you completely remove your hot end and things like that, like if you start removing parts, I can't really help you because I don't know what you've done to the machine. Like there's so many different things that can happen from that point to a point where you're basically just having issues. That's an issue you have. So that's your group. I joined it not too long ago. I'm glad to hear. I don't see your name. Whoever just posted that, you're probably posting on the group, and if you click out of it, above the video here, there's a link that says StreamYards. Basically, it allows StreamYards to access Facebook so I can see your username. That's it. I don't think it does anything else, to be honest. But if you're someone who, is worried about privacy type stuff, then don't even worry about it. If I really wanted to know who you were, I could just open up another page and access my group and see who you are. But if you want to do that for anybody future who's using StreamYards, then once you click on that, it will automatically show me who your name is. So, and it's just a small loop process that you go through. It just basically says, yeah, you're okay. allowing this type thing, and that's pretty much it. So, but again, that's completely up to you. Not I don't force anybody to do that stuff. So we're gonna let that resin heat up a little bit. I have it placed in front of the heater right now, so we can get it heating, and that's basically it. So, let's go on to the Book of Faces. And let's go to the group. Andrew Smith. Pinned to featured. Sure, why not? Let's put that up to the top. Ah, what's up, Mr. Poole? Um, I have been busy. I'm trying to catch up on my stuff. I gotta finish these reviews so I can get them out. By the way, since you guys are all here, I wanted to show you some videos. Well, they're not really videos, I should say. They're kind of intros and outros, and I just want to see how you guys like it. So this is one that I personally like, and let me see how you guys think of this. Now that I kind of like. It's very simple, straightforward. I'm not 100% sure on the music, but you know, it's okay. And then here's another one which is I'm kind of like tippy about. Let me know what you guys think. Like I like I like it, but I'm kind of on the fence about it. I like the first one, but I'm not too keen on the music. So, but I like the second one because it has a little more feel to it. The first one's cool because like the Akuma mods symbol comes out of a fireball and it kind of creates fire in the background. So that's really, really cool. But the second one, like, I like the whole electricity aspect. I'm just not so sure about going through the loop-de-loop type thing. So, um, but yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I've been trying to find somebody to make an intro that I want, but it's proving more difficult than I thought it would be. So I reached out to a couple people on Fiverr of like what I wanted for an intro video, and just nobody got it. And I'm just like, I understand you guys are here to just make basic intros, but I need something custom. Like, I will pay to have something completely custom made out of nothing to have my own type of intro. Like, the intros that I showed you are basic ones, and you can, like, if you go and click on Fiverr and you go on intro and outro videos, like they're all the same. They just have different variations to them, but for the most part, they're exactly what I showed you. So it's nothing personalized. That's the issue that I have with those. But I'm leaning a little bit more towards that electrified one. So I just don't know how I'm going to incorporate it into videos. So we'll have to see if that even happens. I don't even know. So what's up, Yang Tian? I'm surprised you're not on holiday right now. Most of you guys are on the Chinese New Year's. What is it, Tiger? I think, if I'm not mistaken. So Let that sit there for about 5 more minutes, and then let it heat up, and we'll be good to go. So yeah, I'm basically working on some stuff here. I'll show you guys a little bit on what I'm working on, but let's see if I can get a page up. Where did I get these from? Pulse. So I bought a bunch of stuff from Cults, which I usually don't do, but I'm like, you know what? I might as well start supporting some people and designs and things like that. So I should probably do that and go from there. So I ended up downloading a bunch of files that I wanted to have, and this was one of them. So I'll show you guys right here. This is basically what we're printing, and it is really, really cool. I mean, I'm kind of a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but not like super into it. But this one was really cool because it's like it's a Shogun version, and that's a really cool collaboration or mashup, however you want to call it. So I don't know if I'll get around to ever painting it because I'm not talented in any way when it comes to painting. But this is basically what I want it to look like when I'm pretty much close to being done with it. So we shall see. Oh, I think I saw a bunch of pitting. See all the supports. But yeah, so this is FDM printed. So this is pretty good. Whoever has this printer, that's a pretty good printer. So Steven on multiple platforms now, huh? But yeah, this is what we got on the board here. I tried printing, like basically most of the body parts, and yeah, it failed. So, but I couldn't pass it up. I mean, for 14 bucks, it was a little bit more than what I like to spend on a model. Like $10 is usually my max, but I was like, forget it. And he's got some really, really cool other designs that I might have. Like I'll probably end up getting all the other Shogun ones that he has, but those are all the ones that he has that I really, really like. Yamcha, like I'll probably end up getting that one for my coworker because he wants that. Definitely a Trunks one for the wife. Probably this King Tiger Mask one. I'm pretty sure that's King, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, thank you for the thumbs up. Now, he doesn't have an Akuma one, but maybe if I reached out to him, maybe he'll make one for me. That would be awesome. But yeah, basically, I want to get all these Gogeta, Vegeta, that type, and print those out and have them because those would be really cool. I might print this out. I'm not 100% sure on this Gyarados, but that would be kind of cool. But yeah, all these other ones like Bison, that one's really cool. And then I got another cool one that I got to set up, which would be really awesome to have. But I'll leave that be for you guys to figure out what it is. But anyway, let's get this set up. Well, thank you for the thumbs up everywhere. That was very nice of you, sir. I hope I have another bottle of this. I don't know if I do. Shoot. Hopefully it's not white. It is great. Sweet. So we'll let that heat up for a little. Yeah, thanks for the thumbs up, bud. Let's see here. Oh, I missed some people's comments here. First one is good. It looks like two colliding nut sacks. I don't know what that is. Great idea on the Hangout. Thanks. I do it all the time. It's nice to see an opinion on a range of machines sometimes. So that's one thing that I kind of accredit my reviews to is when I do a review, I try and tell you about the machine that I'm reviewing, but I'm also going to tell you about the competition that is next to it or something that can possibly be next to it or close to that machine in some way, shape, or form to give you kind of an idea of like, okay, maybe this person has an Anycubic Mono X or an Elegoo Saturn, and I'm talking about the Nova Whale 2. It's a medium sized printer, but I'm going to tell you like what's better about it between the Elegoo and the Anycubic, and basically tell you, okay, if you're going to move from there to there, this might be a good printer to go with. Excuse me. So I kind of have that. Start Blender. You can make your own intro movie with your models. Yeah, I've heard about that. I have not used Blender for that type of thing, though. 1st of February will be New Year, and indeed the New Year of the Tiger. By the way, it will be year 4720. Wow. Color 3D resin print straight off the printer. Cool. Yeah, that's one thing I am looking to try and do on one of these printers is do a multicolor print. And I have a pretty good idea on how to do it. I just gotta be here when it's doing it. So that means I need to dedicate like 2 to 3 hours to keep an eye on what I'm doing while maybe doing some other stuff and just sitting it right next to me like I normally do and basically going from there. So, but that is definitely in the works. I haven't decided on what printer I'm going to do that on, but I do have a new printer that I need to unbox. I have another printer that I need to unbox that maybe we'll do it on one of those. And but first we gotta finish the reviews on these ones, and that way we can get them up and out of here because I'm kind of running out of working room with these printers. Like I have printers stacked behind printers. I have so many of them. So may you get an invite? Yes, you can. Here, I'll put it. I'll put it up on the screen. There you go. So I have a similar setup, but industrial FDM. So I've been looking at resin a lot. Oh, oh wow, you have some major machines, dude. That's not that's not something I see every day. So it's just kind of like, wow. I know some of those. I don't know all of them, but I've definitely heard of them. What's up, non-fam? I have a dental AccuFab Shining 3D D1, which is awesome, but tiny build volume. Now that is an awesome printer. If I'm not mistaken, that is a laser DLP type printer, which is really, really nice and amazing detail. But that's the reason why it's such a small build volume. So, that's the one thing that budget is trying to break into is having DLP in a budget market. And that's one of the downsides of it is a lot of people don't understand that one of the downfalls between LCD and DLP, the bigger the build volume you have, the worse the print is going to turn out. So that's why they put like 80 microns for a DLP printer because that is absolutely true if you're maxing the build volume. Whereas an LCD printer, like this is 22 microns, this prints at. That is insane. No printer on the market that is LCD can touch that. And it's very hard even for a DLP printer to touch that. So it's very, very hard to tell people the differences between them. So if you want to jump on a cam sometimes and know the differences, I don't mind going through them on cam. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot about printing. I've been doing it for about 3.5 years. Resin printing 3 years. So I have various models. I probably have had 30 to 36 resin printers in my life. Um, all various different types of LCD printers, granted. But like the WeBox is a dental printer. That is a dental industrial printer. The GK1 is definitely like a newer version of it, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet as being just as good as the WeBox. It's proving to be close to it. But the WeBox, I've had only one legitimate failure on it. Um, and the other times that it, had small failures, I knew that something was up and I went ahead and I printed anyways. And that was when it had a bad screen and when the FET film was bad. So I used the WeBox 280 and 380. That is my next printer on my list is the 380. Like that is a beast of a machine, but I think it's still older technology. It's an RGB screen, but that is ah, the piece de la resistance. So 280 was really cool. That's basically what I'm working with right now. This is the Uniformation GK1. It's based loosely off of the 280. It's slightly smaller though. It's more based off the 215, which I used to have. I sold it to a buddy. Um, and basically, they took the 215. The 215 used to be like three resin printers in one. And the problem is most of it was empty space because of all the electronics and how it was. And all they did with the uniformation is churn it down, make it look like the WeBox 130 or the 280 with the flip up lid, and kind of like compacted it more. So it's a much nicer machine. So it's not the small one was epic, absolutely epic. The black 215 was updated to 280 quickly. Yeah, I got the 215. Is it 2 years ago in November, and I had that for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, I want to say. And sometime in that time, they came out with the 280, and I was like, dude, I want that. But I didn't have I think it was 3 grand to shell out for it. Like I had paid $1,600 for the 215, and that was expensive. And that was the most I ever paid for any of these printers. So, um, but I mean, it was a beast of a machine. The first biggest print, which I maxed out the build volume, was a print of he's like the devil in Doom. He's like Doom basically, like the Diablo of Doom. And somebody asked me to print him in resin, and I didn't know anything really about resin and like hollowing and how to do that. So I printed him solid, and he came out to be like five 5 pounds or something like that. He was something ridiculous. Like he was real heavy, and I ended up printing him, and he came out beautifully. And that's when I fell in love with like big printers and everything. And at the time, nobody on the market, like the Elegoo Saturn was just recently announced at that point, and it was like the market was starting to change, but it was still far from it. And that was just a beast of a printer. And people, when they saw it, they were like, "Dude, that's a huge printer," and it was bigger than an Elegoo Saturn. So, hi, I know you've had problems with the Elegoo Saturns before. Speak of the devil. Um, but is there a mod or an upgrade from the socket style build plate to a photon 4 screw type? Not that I'm aware of, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves about the Calent printers is that ball joint. I hate pop sockets. They prove to be more problematic than they are solving problems. The only great thing about them is when they're leveled, but they can easily become unleveled because they're only a point and a point sticking in them. So there's no real way to like lock them into place like a 4-point system like everything else I have. So, but yeah, I don't know any upgrades because everybody just is okay with it, and I just don't understand it. Like at least with the Anycubic group, they were like, yeah, it's a great system, but we want something more stable, and they went ahead and upgraded it. But the Elegoo people are just like one track, one mind type thing. It's like the Ender 3 group. Like it's okay, it works, and that's basically where it's at. So. Uh, First customer I sold one to was a brick 2K Logistics in UK. Wait a minute. UK. Did you supply Tim with a Weebox chocolate printer by chance? Are you the same guy? Cool. Thanks. Okay. I know who you are. I have that printer right here. It's just off the camera. Uh, I actually have their new version too. The Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about that because that's a disaster all in itself. That's probably one of Weebox's worst designs. But yeah, I have the Weebox Sweeten right here. I have some chocolate. I have it ready to set up. I just need to get it printing. I used to print with it a little bit when I got it, and then it just kind of sat and did nothing because when I did print with it, it was just okay. And then I came to find out I'm not a white or a dark chocolate person. I'm a milk chocolate person. And I came to find out that those don't really work very well with milk chocolate. They work very well with dark and pretty good with white chocolate. So about 2 or 3 months ago, I purchased some dark chocolate. So we're going to try that. And I'm kind of sad that it doesn't work with milk chocolate because I like that. But hey, um, an S3D. Oh, I will definitely be grabbing that. Can you link your group really quick so I can grab that? Because I utilize S3D and the system that it has on it is Cura, and I absolutely can't stand Cura for the life of me. So um, let me invite Matt here. So I don't know why. Oh, there he is. I just sent you. I just sent you.
Sorry. You know me and spelling and
Yeah,
God.
no, that's fine. That's why I sent you the link because I'm like, I know it takes a while for that to spell out. So, sure, I'm in
Yeah.
my workshop in about 5 minutes, and I'll send it over. Yeah, no problem. Just if you want to just message me, go ahead and send it over via Messenger. So, but anyway, how's it going, Matt?
Yeah, pretty good. Are you drinking Coke?
Yep. Printing a
Prost.
lot of stuff. I got
Cheers.
I got quite a lot of things done over the week of my printers printing. So, looking good.
Yeah, I've been doing some resin printing too.
I got some sweet Oogie Boogie dice.
I printed some resin parts for my FDM printers. I printed all of these,
There you go.
and they're basically the fan ducts. Because my problem is I only can use them maybe for like 3-4 months before the heat deforms them, because it's just PLA on the printers.
Right.
And now with the resin, it doesn't deform. So
I was just gonna say, if you were on earlier, you would have seen me setting a resin print on fire, and it literally did nothing. So,
really, wow.
yep.
And I made those.
Ah, very nice.
That's
That's pretty
for the
cool.
book club. On the I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
stall on Tales on Trent. It's basically like a book fair, and I'm gonna have my stall there, 3D printed stall, and I'm gonna sell these for like £10 a pop.
Nice.
So I can make 4 of them a day with my resin printer. But yeah, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I need to get a second resin printer. I'm still waiting on my resin printer from Anycubic.
Anycubic.
Yeah, they said
Yeah,
it's
that.
supposed to be here on Christmas, but they're busy, and I don't mind waiting right now for
Yeah.
it because I don't have the room for it.
Yep.
So I have to tell my girlfriend to move some of her stuff away.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
Uh, what's up, James? How's it going, bud?
Hey
Uh,
James, is James our James?
James, that's James Coulter.
Oh,
I don't know
all
if
right,
you
all
know
right.
him.
No, I don't know him. I thought you were
Why
talking
do
about
you
James
not
Bookie.
like Kira but like S3D? It's much simpler to use. You can easily remove and add supports wherever you want. You can change the size of the supports and manually put supports wherever you want. The profiles are super simple to set up. Um,
With Cura,
and
you can
I
do that
just
too now.
yeah, I'm just accustomed to it. So
Yeah,
again, just like the whole Shitu box versus Lychee, I prefer Shitu box because I'm accustomed to it. I'm grandfathered in. S3D, when I worked at TH3D Studios, that's what we used. So I got a license for it, and I've basically been using it ever since. I still have Cura because, well, people ask me to help them with Cura stuff, so that's why I have it. But for the most part, I try and stay away from it. It's just, it's not, it's not as nice of a system,
yeah.
and
It's
it
not
takes a
user
long
friendly.
time. Yeah, it takes a
I
long
think
time.
Cura. Yeah,
So,
I'm still
and
learning Cura after 2 years, and I
yeah,
only been strictly using Cura. I mean, Cura have over like 4,000 settings, I think, in there. No, a
dang,
little bit less, I think. A
yeah,
little bit less, 2,000 or something like that. But it's I don't know the number, let's say, but it's a lot. I mean, just alone in retraction settings, there are like 10 different settings for that. You know,
right,
in that category. And then you have another popular one is tree supports. Now those supports go everywhere. You press generate, and then it will get generated when you slice. And the other one is I forgot the name of it now. uh, it's basically it shows up on your side tab, and it looks like little steps, and it's black. And those you can put wherever you like to put them at. And I think they're pretty neat.
yeah,
I use them a lot, especially if I print something very thin and long. Then I encase it in that support system because it also acts up as like a U shield. So it just comes out very nice. It looks almost like it's formed in it.
mhm,
And I reckon if you can take the inside out without damaging the outside, you probably can put a candle in there and
yep,
candle wax and bake a candle and then open it up, and then you have a form of whatever you printed.
yeah. That would be kind of cool. Um, let's see here. My experience with S3D is that it would omit parts of the model, which has ruined my prints. Have you ever experienced this? I've never ever experienced that ever. Um, Custom supports or support blockers on Cura have gotten a lot better. But here's the thing, like with that custom support and the support blocker stuff, is the new Curas including that, or do you still have to download it? That's the thing. Like S3D has it incorporated in their system. It's there right then and there. Whereas Cura, if I had no idea about 3D printing, I step into an Ender 3, I download Cura, it's not going to have it on there unless they finally added it. But you still had to download it back last I tried it. So I don't know if that's
Yeah,
changed.
I chose Cura for one reason: lithophane.
Right.
So because in Cura, you actually can drop a picture in it, just drag and drop, and you have a lithophane without borders, etc. It's not going to be a fancy lithophane, but it's this got me started out printing lithophanes, and yes, awesome, I think.
Yeah.
So no other program does that. Like Simplify 3D doesn't do it. Prusa doesn't do that, and that's the only program what I know what you can use where you drop a pet, picture format into Cura, and you have a lithophane just there. You may have to play around with the minimum or maximum settings and the black and white ratio, but this is basically through the minimum setting and maximum setting. So right now, those are really okay looking. They're not my best prints, especially the focus one. I'm
Right.
kind of that one. Actually, my printer kind of played up a little bit, so I actually used two filaments on it, and experimented with. It only has one little tiny line on it,
Yeah.
and but from this distance you can't see it. Hold on, let me get this off. Oh crap!
There you
My
go.
I can,
Nice.
uh, yeah, those lines are actually generated by the camera and the light inside. But
Yep.
where is it now? I can't find the line now on camera. It doesn't show up on camera. The line.
I can kind of see it. It's by the O there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So you were talking about Cura and basically making a lithophane. Now, the first time that I ever thought about a lithophane was in Simplified 3D. It says convert image to 3D, and you can go ahead and choose an image. So, like here, we'll
Oh,
just go to downloads. I'll throw an image in here,
I didn't
create
know
it,
that.
um,
They must
save
have
it as an
changed that.
STL.
See,
All right.
because I don't work with that program for a long time, I tried it like 2 years ago.
Now, obviously, it's not the greatest, but like
Yeah,
with
that's
that
not a
image,
proper lithophane,
yeah,
but
it's
you
not.
get the point. I get the
It,
point.
it basically creates it as a model, not really a lithophane, I would say.
Yeah, a
So
map system like I think Google Maps
yes,
would be put in.
yeah,
Good idea.
topographical maps,
Yeah,
perfect for it. Super easy. You just import the image and it'll make it for you. So
and click and play basically.
yeah. As for somebody was asking about
Wow.
Prusa Slicer or Super
What
Slicer, actually.
what was this
I
again? Simplify 3D.
yes.
All right, I have to
So
download
that
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 one now.
program is about $150 to purchase it. Well, at least it
Oh
used to be.
wow.
I don't know if it still is.
That's probably why I did not choose that one because I did not have the money for it, and I still don't have the money for it. So I'm on a budget, so I plan everything out months in advance. What I'm doing,
Yeah.
like I bought
Um,
myself 2 months worth of resin, and I bought myself 2 months worth of filament.
2 months worth of resin. You sure about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I bought 5 bottles. I mean, I'm not gonna print like big prints, and most of my prints are hollow, so I don't think I will use that much. Mostly a liter will last me a week, so week and a half maybe if I stretch it.
Right.
And right
Let's see.
now I
What
have
did it?
the one what
Oh,
you don't
okay.
like.
Cool. Somebody said it's included into the supports now. I would love to show you a few slicers which do awesome stuff. Yeah, so that's one of the things. Like somebody was talking to me or asking me earlier about different slicers and things like that, like that I use, and what has good parts and what has bad parts, things like that. And they all have their ups and downs, obviously. So that's why I have so many of them on my desktop. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different slicers. No, 10, 10, 11, 12 different slicers on my desktop because of that. But yeah, I've heard about Super Slicer. I have yet to download it or use it, but from what I've heard, it's pretty good. It's a modified version of Prusa Slicer. So, and Prusa Slicer is pretty powerful. It's got some cool stuff in it. I really dig it. Okay. All right. So let's go back home.
We have somebody in the chat in YouTube. You deleted, or what was that?
Yeah, he was posting like about music and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, he's gone. So.
Yeah.
Idea Maker. Yeah, I hear a lot about that too. I have yet to use Idea Maker.
Oh, here you go. I've been using this resin, the one you regret using, I think.
No, Elegoo resins were the ones I kind of went away with.
Oh,
Like
all right.
Anycubic, I stopped using too because I mean they're basically the same company, but I mean I still get back to them if I need to. So
Yeah, I like. So far, I did really nice stuff with the resin. The apples came out very nice, and instead of creating two holes, I only created one hole. But I make one mistake. I had to shake really long time till I had all the liquid out. Oh, I should have made a second hole in it. And I had one other problem, and a support blocks that hole too. And I tried to get it out, and I had to uh, invite and make the hole bigger a little bit. So I used the drill just to drill a little bit in. So, and that solved my problem. And then I probably rinsed it out with IPA and dried it underneath the fan. Yeah, uh, and cured it after half a day.
nice.
I want to make them in green. I want to talk to Anycubic if they can send me some of their green resin. Because I'm kind of fuzzy with buying it. Because
Right.
I'd rather buy white because I use white mainly for my lithophanes, and I really don't see use for the green one except if I want to. I do want to try a lithophane with it, but I don't think it will come out properly because I did see other people do lithophane. It mostly becomes like a ghost image, you know, like almost like a similar look what you do with your Santa Claus in a ball,
Yep.
and it needs to be frosted in the outside
Hmm.
certain areas, but you don't get this frosting because the frosting goes mostly across all of it.
Yes.
And I need to have the frosting at certain locations, and because it's an open air, like surfaces like this, uh, it just keeps frosting everything over. So I can't stop that process, and I don't know how to control. I want to have this frosted, the S, but not the black parts. You see.
Right.
So and
So
this
with
thing
that,
is, yeah.
you can do that. So these models come out completely frosted once you're done washing and curing them, right? Now, there's two things that you can do. You can spray, like section off with tape, the parts that you want to remain frosted, and then put a gloss coat over the rest of it. And there you go. And then what you can do is you can just put a like matte clear
Mean
coat.
like a lacquer on top?
Yes, yeah. So like
Oh,
this all I did was dip it back into resin and
yeah.
then cured it in water. So it's not the greatest looking ball. It's got some imperfections because it's just I
Yeah.
just
I
dipped
mean,
it.
it's
I
your
didn't
first
sand
print,
it
so.
down or anything like that. So,
I mean,
but
you always
there,
can polish it, I
right,
reckon.
right. So you can do that as well. Where if you don't want to do like clear coating, you can also sand it all down, leave the frosted parts, tape them off, and then polish the parts that you don't want frosted.
Yeah. Wow.
Polish Johnson's baby lotion into it. There you go.
I'll probably use some type of lubricant, oil, polisher. You know, the special polisher for glass. I think I can use to polish what they use for polishing glass. I think
Yeah,
that would
probably.
works the best. And use a buffer on it, and then have maybe not on a stick, but I don't know yet. You have to have it. You can't hold it like this because the buffer will shoot it out of your thing. Because you have to have it basically on a stick, the ball, and
Right.
then buff it. You know, maybe have some kind of three-prong clamp system where you just you know clamp it like this, and then you can polish it around, and then the part what you didn't polish, then you just move around like this, and then you polish the parts what were covered by the prongs.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of I mean, don't get me wrong, you can polish 90% most likely of the object at the first try, but you still have the 10% what was left by the prawns.
Right.
And yeah, so that's the only thing I think. But I need to find a maker what can make me this tool, and I want it out of metal, and I want to be able to have it like like a regular plier like this, what you can extend to
Right.
grab bigger pieces.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I did think about to use the just the I need one with three prongs or four prongs so I can hold it in. So I thought about buying two of them and then get a welder, get a person to weld an arc in between. So those two basically are stiff, and then I can lock them into place. That's what I thought to make. Because I'm thinking about to make my own tools,
Right.
just to make my work easier.
Yeah. That's always a good thing to have.
Did you print your Fanta on can yet on resin again?
I have not tried it again since the um
Failure.
yeah
I'll
the
let you know
disaster.
how I'll let you know how this one will turn out. This one is my FDM one, but hopefully it will come out better than this one.
Mhm. So the
And
only thing with resin is you need drainage on the can.
yeah, I'm thinking
So
about to do it on the bottom and print it basically like this.
yep. So with that, what I did is I had one on the bottom, and then like in the center of the bottom, and then I also had one basically taking out the can part, the actual pour spout of the cap. So that way it
Those,
has a through hole. Because what's going to happen is if you just put one hole on it, you're basically going to cause a suction unless you have a big hole on the
yeah,
bottom.
that's why I'm
So
saying, because the can, I left the support in here so you can't see it, but you know how a can looks on the bottom. It's around
yep,
about the same diameter as this base right here.
there you go.
Just make a hole as big as this, and then use all this around for making super heavy supports on it, and
Yep,
maybe even print it straight, I say. Because the can support straight printing. It's a problem if it's just like a piece of paper, like a lithophane, what you were printing, what I gave you.
right,
Because I experienced that too when I started printing my first lithophanes on resin. Uh, I printed them at an angle, as you said, and yes, it was one of the part of the solution, but I always put it around the edging heavy borders I put in, like 5 mil heavy borders in the
yep,
lithophane program, and then I just put heavy supports all around the framing on the outside. Because if I put heavy supports or light support on the lithophane picture itself, you have little tiny holes appearing when you break them
right,
off. So that's why I only use certain areas as supports, and if the supports are not strong enough, I use super heavy supports what are custom made. And they're really short little knuckles. They're around about 3 mils wide, the supports. So this way I use less of them too, and position them maybe on. Sorry, I'm getting a cold right now because my nephew was over and he had a cold. Now I have a cold. I have to do a PCR test actually. I just hear my voice change over just speaking. You can hear it, and I
yeah.
really have a dry mouth too. Ooh.
That's why you always have a drink.
Yeah, but just make the heavy support around here and have maybe around about 30 of them.
Yep.
But I think it will print fine if I print it vertically like this, and I will try it, and I will give you a report on it and show you the results. That's actually my next project once the apples are finished.
Oh no.
Because the Fanta was my number one hit. I had over 250 or 300 likes on it in matter of a day.
Dang.
So, and lots of people ask me for the SDL file. But I rather, you know, the saying about STLs, or I'm becoming a little bit religious right here. Like the story about Jesus and the fish. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. That's
Yes.
my STL file. But if I show him how to fish, how to make the STL file, then I can feed him for life. So that's what I want to do. So that's my kind of my principle.
There you go.
That's why I get now. I have my Luban set up, the special key what I can use, so I can use
Yep.
it on multiple computers, but only one use because I have to use this as a key to make the program work. And but I can change computers if I wanted to, and I can use it on my stream computer and show people how to use Luban and how to make different things. That's hence saying, create your own STL files, And I don't want that people make money. I just want that people make money and, I mean, not make money, STL files and share it with each other.
Right.
But as long as it's all legal. So, and I recommend, because it's a big company like Fanta, Coca-Cola, I don't like to give out the STL file because I don't want to get in trouble with them. because
Yep.
that's basically almost a perfect copy of a 2-liter bottle what they had in France. So, because I used the 2-liter bottle and I cut the plastic off and scanned it, and then used the scanning picture and cut it to pieces and rearranged it a little bit, and bang,
There you
I
go.
had my Fanta bottle. Because it says on here 2 liter. Sorry, Matt, I keep breaking you up.
No, that's fine.
Even the writing you can see. Here you go, 2 liter up there.
That looks nice.
Yeah. I made this one on FDM for my girlfriend when we first met. She goes like, "Wow, you do all of this," and she like, I first thought she gonna go like, "Oh no, another nutcase making nuts with his hobby."
Yeah.
No, she actually was very supportive, and she was amazed of it what I was able to do. And of course, I showed her my lithophanes. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what I want to show you too just came in a couple days ago.
Good morning, photo minima.
Here you go.
Nice. About time.
Yeah, but it's a kit, so have to assemble because Moses says he gets sent everybody a printer what is almost half assembled. You
Right.
just have to like how you get the G tags. This is how the Pruchas are.
Yep.
But I think he teased me a little bit by sending me the kit because I was a streamer, not a streamer, a YouTube hopper too, and doing lithophanes and all that. And I think he wants to challenge me. I'm not sure about it. I have to ask him.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, but I have
It,
already an idea.
it's a good learning curve, though.
Yeah, but I'm gonna Tom Sawyer it.
Ah.
You know what I mean by that? Tom
Yep.
Sawyer it. Um, my girlfriend, she made a bet that she can build this printer in 6 hours.
Not happening. Well,
It's up to her
let me rephrase
too.
that. She'll probably be able to do it, but will it work?
Exactly,
Mm,
that's what I said too.
that's the
So,
$1 million question.
because the thing is, you have to build it perfectly and make it print at the first time, at least at the second try, those 6 hours. Sorry, everybody.
I got.
No. Yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna do it because we're in the process of moving. So we don't know if we're gonna do it on stream because I
Right.
went last night, first time live for 15 minutes. So on Twitch, I went live. So yeah, and we want to do it on Twitch. We want to do it like a couple team, do 3D printing maybe in the future. I'm trying to convince her about that. So don't tell anybody. Her she needs to be a surprise for her. I have to. A fish you need to tease before it hits on the hook. That's hence the worm. So the worm is the Prusa, what she knows she likes and likes to tease me with, like saying, "Oh, it's my Prusa," because on because I won this one on Loyal Moses stream,
Yeah.
and I asked Loyal. It was originally a Focus, but by then I had already a Focus what I have won. So and my girlfriend wanted a Focus too, and I said to her she can't have my Focus, and then I won the second one, And then I said, well, you can have the second one, but because I saw the opportunity with Roy Moses, because he talked about his Prusas, I asked him nicely. I thought I was asking nicely. I mean, I didn't want it to do, be like greedy or anything. Just ask him, would you mind if I get a Prusa kit for it, or Prusa. Uh, I said Prusa kit. I didn't say that. I think I said a Prusa for it. And he thought about for a while, and he said, "Yeah, I do that." And then next week later, he auctioned off, not auctioned off, give away again the Focus.
Nice.
So sorry, I'm rambling on.
No, you're fine. I'm working on something right now for slicing. So checking out the new slicer that somebody sent me.
Oh, my glow in the dark dragon print finished. Let's see if
Hmm.
it cool down. Oh yeah, it's cool. Oh, I have to be. Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, I'm using it, Michael. Right now, I'm trying to split a model, but
Oh
it's taking a
no.
long time. Oh, there we go. There we go. Not bad.
My glow in the dark. I have to check the thing. Focus. It keeps slipping out of the socket. So I
Right.
don't know if I need to have a new screw or a new hot end on it. So I'm gonna order a new hot end and a couple more screws. Because I did uh, overstretched it maybe the screw, so maybe have to replace the hot end and um, the part where it hooks up to the extruding feeding mechanism.
Right.
Have to exchange that. So yeah, I printed that one with brim. I always like the stuff with brim. I like the cleanup stuff, but here you can see where it leaked, and that's glow in the dark.
Yep.
Uh,
That printed nice.
yeah, it was. It printed very nice actually, except the black spots. The leaks. So, but I didn't want it to stop it,
Right.
because it was too far ahead.
Bye, Kate.
And most of these parts are really easy to clean up because it does drip on it, and it's like candle wax almost.
Just don't
Very
break it.
brittle. No, you're not gonna break it. It's just brittle because it got overcooked. Because any plastic what gets overcooked, everybody knows, gets dark, and it's very brittle. So it's very easy to break off that part, and still leave the white bits perfectly intact. I will show you.
Ah, we got a new person. Let me remove this. Hold on. What's up, Mike?
Yeah,
Hello, mate. You right? How are you? Okay?
Doing good.
All good. Nice to meet you, mate. You right?
yeah.
Likewise.
You from Australia, mate?
I'm from UK.
All right, cool. Me
He's
too.
in your neck of the woods, Matt.
Yeah, I'm near Stoke-on-Trent. Where are you about?
Cornwall.
Cornwall. All right,
Come on.
cool.
I was up your.
Staffordshire.
I train like schools and businesses all over the UK. I was up your way the other day, actually.
Huh.
All right, cool.
It's good. Yeah, that slice is something, Matt.
It is. It's very nice. It's like a nice Cura.
Well, they've just adapted Cura, like they spent a lot of money doing R&D on that to sort of for their 3D Gents printers, so that like if you go into a profile setting on there it'll warn you that you're affecting the warranty of the machine. So like they paid like close attention to customers break machines themselves. So stop customer breaking machine by stop customer editing settings.
Right. That's
Which
good.
so it gives you like some parameters you can change, but yeah, if you use I would have thought for drain holes and stuff like that, if you're printing loads of parts together, you could hide your drain holes inside the recesses that you get.
Yep.
And then it's just not going to be visible, and your support marks as well. Do you know what I mean? So you pretty much like just fill the voids with supports to get everything you want.
So how would you print this? Because my hole is underneath here.
In that, I think, I don't know if Matt's put the thing up, but the 3D Gent slicer is just about cutting a model with a join on it, so you can fit it together nicely. So, and obviously where the join is, you can obviously hide your holes. Well, it depends if your printer's big enough, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I have a mighty 4K.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
you can do up to so we have a range of FDM machines here. We use all sorts of different stuff.
Boo.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just trying it out right now. Like I already split this model. I'm trying to see how it does the like knob process. I think that's what I need to do.
So export. You can just export each individual model on the top. On that, see that little save icon there, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. Splitting my models like that. It scares me more to put them together, and you have more likely seam lines if the print goes wrong.
Ah, I see what it did. Okay.
Yeah, it's clever. So you can select that angle as well. So you got it on a 75.
Yeah.
You can put that on you can put that on a 45. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that you can have it like, say if you were doing FDM, so you'd obviously have it on a 45, so you could slot it together better.
Yeah.
But we do like, I mean,
that's a good idea.
Some of the stuff we do is like meters and meters big. So like when I'm doing like something massive, we'll use this to cut the model down, and when I'm gluing and putting everything together, it's not as hard.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about little models. If it's big models, then it's way different than I think.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we didn't do anything too small. But yeah, like that, for instance, it would be, quite good. The bigger the part, the more processing power the software takes. It really rips it out of your computer. You'll hear your computer start to take off.
Wow.
So it's doing a lot of work, I suppose. Like when it does it, like if you think about it, it's doing a lot of work. So
this is a lot easier to deal with than Kira is.
Yeah, they stripped of everything back off the initial faceplate of it, haven't they? Like, and yeah, it's just a cool thing. But they obviously spent a lot of money adapting it for how they wanted their customers to use it.
Right.
So it's just good. It's just good to take advantage of things like this, which like people have come up with. These big corporations, large companies have come up with, but people like us can take advantage of. Do you know what I mean? Like all the time. It's just until you see it, you don't know about it. So it's always good to show people. I'm doing. Have you ever done one of those 3D sets models, Matt?
Not sure what that is.
So they don't
like making a tank, like
doing one of these that it's like an RC model, sort of thing.
Ah, I gotcha.
So I've been doing there's a Land Cruiser one that's just been released, so I've just been sort of doing that in my spare time.
Like those model things what I used to buy when I was a child. Those, and you glue them together and you break them out of the plastic. It almost looks like that, but you print them yourself. The
Yeah,
parts.
so and they're all
That's
RC,
brilliant.
so you can
Yeah,
drive them around. And
that's brilliant.
we did a Land Rover for my brother lives in the States, and we did like a Land Rover for their
What I
facility.
do want, I'm interested in tanks.
Yeah,
I
I don't
like
think they've done
tanks
a
a
I don't think
lot.
they've done a tank yet.
I
Um,
want a tank called the Löwe. It was they produced a chassis and two domes for it in the Second World War, but it never reached full development. It was in research development, and if this tank would have been on the battlefield, all the tanks what the British and the Americans and had would have been really bad for you guys then. And the problem was they over engineered it. That was a problem of the Germans. And thank God. Uh, I'm very fascinated with tanks, and also one of my favorite tanks is the Russian T-34.
Nice.
That's a
yeah,
nice one. Or
what
the
I've always thought
Challenger is
about.
not bad either.
I mean, you can I mean, you can get like an RC tank for like what, like $30-40 now probably.
Yeah,
All you
yeah,
got to do is rip out the internals of how it drives and just print everything else around it. I mean, that's
yeah.
generally like what people are doing. They're taking an inspiration from a certain model and then just adding a level of 3D printingness to it.
Right.
Yeah,
We
yeah. I
do a
want
lot
to
of
make custom-made ones.
this scanning. Hey, I do have I still have a Weeboots product here, Matt. I've still got their uh, UV curing machine.
Oh yeah, basically looks like my 130.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
literally the same size. Nuts.
it is. It is the
Yeah,
exact same thing. I was like, what? What? Okay.
that's great because I use it for the shining. The AccuFab is perfect size for that sort of stuff,
There you go.
And it's never not done its job. Do you know what I mean? It's always been really good. So it's cutting stuff up in duty box there, Matt. What's that like?
Yeah. So at least in the pro version, it is. But the thing is like it's different what it does.
Yeah,
So I'll show you here
that'd be interesting to see.
in a second. So like, what is it? Prepare. So you can cut it,
Yeah,
but it doesn't prepare it in the same way.
yeah.
So here,
Can you export the files as well, sort of thing, so you can have them
yeah,
saved?
yeah. I
Oh,
can cut
wicked.
this and then I can export them individually or all together, whatever I want.
Nice one.
So like the difference between this one, so like that's instantaneous.
Yeah.
But the thing is like on this, you see there's no edging.
Ah, right. It's just not giving you like a yeah.
It's
Okay.
just a clean cut. So that's the problem that I have with it. And like I tried doing something like this where it splits a model, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't work the
Yeah. Yeah.
same.
Oh, so that could be useful for you then, even if it's like it's been really it's been integral for me. Like, I
What do you
even did
want
a
DAO?
I
You
even
want a
did
DAO
this.
system in it, a connecting system.
I
Yeah,
Like
even did it.
you
basically
want it
that's
that it splits, and basically you want this piece what basically sticks in the other piece, like what he
So
yeah.
created.
So you
I
can
used
just put
it.
it together.
I
Luban.
used it for this, right? This like the other day, to print this, right?
Right,
So I printed it with this, but obviously the joins were all slotted together and just glued and just clamped themselves. Do you know what I mean?
right.
So
Oh,
a
clamping stuff.
big prototype, but thin walls, but was able to join together quite easily
Yep.
with minimal stress. Do you know what I mean? So,
Oh,
but that's like, I mean, that's quite a big thing. It's like, and it's a drawer for someone's desk, like a standing desk that goes up and down.
Right.
But like, it's just easy to put together, like, because I just filled the joins with glue and just let the compression of the model just clamp itself together. Do you know what I mean? I didn't need to use clamps or deform the
Yep.
model. I just put glue in the recesses, because I just I cut it in a way that the slots were like channels, so they just
Yeah.
accepted the super glue, ran the super glue down, slot it in, job done. There was no like clamps, like what it's like, when you're clamping thin walls together,
It's
they'll
like a
try and bow
modular
out. They'll
system.
try and bow out,
Right.
which is obviously not very good for when you're putting big stuff together. So yeah, it's really, really handy for me. I don't know what's if they're trying to get people from other countries to log in to see who's using it, maybe. But I've never had that before. I've only ever put it on machines in the UK. So
Yeah, I logged it, or I installed it and logged right in, and it was
I
fine.
wonder,
It just asked me.
I wonder if they downloaded the cloud thing or something. Do you know what I mean? There
Maybe.
was a program there. You convince one of the guys to let you let you use one of the big scanners, Matt, like one of the shining ones, or one of the
Yeah,
I
because
think Weebook's doing equivalent.
yeah, all I got is I got the Revo Point one here that they sent me a little while ago.
But like,
Which is
if
all right.
the one of the ones like this, like we do, where is it? Over there. We do a lot of work with stuff like we
Yep.
scan like horses' feet, for instance. Like we go around on site, like scanning horses' feet, sending the data off for like horseshoes and stuff. Scanning like museums and like scan artifacts that people aren't allowed to
Nice.
touch, and
Yeah.
then we
This is my
3D print
scanner.
them.
Much
Mate,
smaller.
you got to start somewhere. I had a XYZ scanner when I started.
All right.
You start somewhere,
I
mate.
I was trying to build Xbox scanner, with the Xbox 360 scanner,
Yep.
but it didn't work for me. It only worked for a little while, and then an update came out and it stopped working. And I couldn't reinstall the old firmware or anything like that, and
No, man.
it just wouldn't
Yeah,
work.
I think they worked out what people were doing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think some people figured out what was the problem, but then I was working on it for like 2 weeks in a row, and the maybe it came out a year later or half a year later, the fix for it. But I
Yeah.
was then so depressed with it. So I like the one what Kieran have, my friend. He paid something like 11 grand for it, I believe, for his scanner,
That
and it's
one,
a
I think
handheld
that cost me
scanner.
about 7 or 8,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
all right.
But it does
They're
its
really
work. I mean,
expensive.
it
Yeah,
paid for itself within,
yeah,
like, if you've
I
got the
agree.
work, like that could pay for itself within a couple months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, and
Um,
but there's not enough people to do it. So I think you'll find in any part of the country, like I'm in Cornwall, obviously the requirement for 3D scanning in Cornwall means I don't really leave Cornwall doing it. So you'll find that 3D scanning in your area, Matt, would be probably quite similar. It's just you just need to speak to the right people and the right applications about
yeah.
getting it involved in their industry. I mean, once you do, you'll find that probably 10 million people around you will probably want scanning, but you just don't
Yep.
realize it. They don't realize it as well because they've not been shown it's available locally, or B, it's as easy to do as what it can be. You just need the right equipment to do it. And I suppose it's just an investment thing. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
but if you can convince
How
someone to
much
give
would you
you
say
one,
it would cost? Something like that. I mean, the whole
well, like,
setup.
so like if right, really, ideally, you need like a scanner that can do like 2 different types of light. But if you can't afford that, you can go in a little bit cheaper. But like the IronScan Pro, I use an IronScan Pro ×2 with a color pack and an industrial pack, which probably cost around like 6 grand maybe when I bought it, 6-7 grand with all the stuff, with all the like tax and everything. So they are a reasonable investment. If you want one with dual light, you're probably talking about 10 grand, 12 grand. which will just scan like cars and things like that
Yep.
Shining do. So, but it's just the investment. I mean, we charge £60 an hour for scanning things. Like I can in an hour I can scan. Yeah, don't know. Maybe we want to talk about prices on streams and stuff, but like £60 an hour is pretty okay. If it's on site, then it's going to be more than that. So you'll pay for your scanner back relatively quickly. It's just all about how you use it and how you
months you can pay it off. If you have
like
everyday good jobs.
Yeah, and it took me 2 years to get to the point where I'd probably have jobs coming in.
Do you reckon I would be fine with 12 grand?
It depends who you went to. So let me put it like this. Like a craft bot. Okay, you use
you get a craft
Ender
bot,
3s and use and reality stuff. So think of it like in a place of you put your input into those machines to make them good, yeah? Because your input requires those machines to work well, in a sense, yeah. Like because it's all about like you and how you run them, and
you have to fine tune them.
Yeah, you get good results, right? A similar sort of thing in that respect is the more money you spend on the machine, the less sort of you have to worry about
problems.
That sort of stuff. Yeah, and the same thing with scanners. So the more money you spend on the machine isn't actually reflective on the machine manufacturing cost, because that's irrelevant. It's more to do with the cost of the software that went behind making that product. So Shining's scanning software is one of the best ones I've used. But there are other better scanner manufacturers like Artec and things like that you're going to be paying a lot more money. But it's the software that makes the scanner. It's not the scanner itself. The software is so important. And the Shining stuff, when it just like Matt, I've seen your stream before using that Revo point thing, and I saw you were just banging your head against a brick wall. So like where it flips it and orientates it. I mean, I can even show you one time like some scanning with that, like if you ever wanted. It's relatively easy to do, and you can just I can set that thing up so it can just on my table here, so it can just shoot at my face, so I can scan my whole face, and then I can just impose that onto a model. Or like fixed scanning doesn't have to be on a turntable. Like you can be in turntable mode but have a fixed scan but capture a large area in deep detail. So like there's so many different ways you can use that scanner that I've seen no one use. It's just about the software and how you use the software, like and cutting things out. Like just holding control, circling stuff to cut horrible stuff out that you don't want. Like of the scan, and it's just being able to smooth it, manipulate it. I understand if you. Oh, sorry, mate. Ask a question.
Yeah, for you. Do you ever hear of a person called Ethan Dad?
No.
He's a YouTuber. Also, he developed his own scanning. He uses the Apple. He's a software writer.
Oh yeah.
Wait, was that the guy who was in here earlier?
Yeah, I think so. Ethan Dad?
Yeah. Andrew, Marcus, yeah.
Yeah, Marcus, yeah. He's a software developer, and he developed software for the Apple. But you need an iPhone 10 and above to make it work, his software.
Yeah.
And his print's coming out good too, but I think he has problems with little stuff. Big stuff, he doesn't have too much problem scanning. And
I mean, the new LiDAR on the I've got like one of those iPad Pro things, and I bought it for doing that sort of stuff, but it's terrible. It doesn't work.
Alright, doesn't work really well, okay.
The LiDAR, no, I was hoping it's a cheap way of doing it, something like that should be about 50 grand. If you can buy it for £1,000, and I mean, that thing could kind of scan my room, right? I could wave that thing around in here, and I could send you a visual representation of my room, but you'd never be able to print it. It's not. There's so many more levels that go into making something printable after you scanned it, and that.
Yeah, and that's what I always tell people. Like, I have a job I got to scan some parts for, And I
Yeah.
told the guy, I'm like, I can scan the parts, but I'm just letting you know there's still some level of
So
design that you need to add in there.
I can help you with that. So it's actually relatively easy. Like I don't design. Okay.
Right.
So I've got designers that do my stuff. I'm quite open about that. I'm a 3D printing company. I don't design.
Yeah.
I interpret jobs. I process them. I have a designer. I get them done. I print them. That's my bag.
Yep.
And I reverse engineer. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not about designing. It's not about reverse engineering. It's about using the programs that are free to us to manipulate the model into doing what we want to do. And actually, it's again going back to the software side of it. Shining will create you an STL, a binary STL. It's a block. It's a block in space. It's got no relevance, but it's a block. And there's Creo will automatically select faces for you, so you can extrude them, sort of change them, which is pretty good. Like Geomagic, there's like some very expensive Shining Geomagic programs which do a great job, but aren't affordable for us, right? So there's and even like you look around me, it's not affordable for me. It's not practical. You have to be in like a engineering environment, charging out 30-40 grand a job for pretty high value stuff to be able to use some of the programs that Shining tell you to use.
Yeah.
But you can get there in other ways, and I can show you a little bit about that. But it's about the workflow, right? It's about scan model, bring model into program, select, make solid, smooth it. Bring it into another program, make your edits, cut your stuff off, bring it into another program, done. And that process can be done quite quickly. Like I can go from a scan probably to a printable STL in about 15 minutes.
That's pretty good. That's nice.
If it plays ball, we use like scanning sprays and stuff. Like if you ever got some of this, Matt, like A sub scanning spray. Like these guys don't endorse me. Like they're really, really good. So you spray that on the model, and it gives it like they do an invisible spray, they do a blue spray, or orange spray, and then a chalk spray. So loads of different sprays which you spray on the model to help get into those deep pockets, those deep parts that the light don't want to get into. But then that helps; it bounces the light off, and it's great. It's really, really good.
That's cool.
And they do there's this one is this is a vanishing spray, and then they do like a little blue spray. These are samples I grab from road shows when I'm about, because they're great for doing small models. But yeah, like that sort of stuff really helps scanning, bring it to life. Like that would help you with your Revo scanner for sure, because your scanner, it's only got one type of light. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just utilizing one type of light. So just blast it with some chalk. Antiperspirant works as well. Like I've heard antiperspirant's got like sort of a property where it will leave like a chalkiness all over it.
Right.
Yeah, and we use primer sometimes when none of that works. Or
I was gonna say I think I've heard people use that before.
yeah, primer works really well. Yeah, I love scanning. Scanning for me is like one of my secret best bits.
Yeah, Breville Point sent me this unit to test out and everything, and I'm like, all right, well, we'll see how it was. And I was actually I was kind of more impressed than what I was expecting that it can do. And again, you touched on software side, and I think that's more or less why it was better than I expected, because I'd heard so many horror stories of like the Creality one, and I'm like, the problem is the software on the Creality scanner is absolute trash. So that's the issue that I always saw, was like, okay, it works to an extent, but there's still a lot of additive stuff you got to do to fix the model and everything, where the Revel Point gets you close enough, but it's still got a little bit of stuff you need to do. But I mean, for a $600 scanner, it's not bad.
And it's your lighting as well. Like I've been to site to do some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do anything here. Can we go somewhere else? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, this is coming home with me then. Because in here I've got like a 4K light. It's 4K. Anything under 4K is like pretty much useless for scanning.
Right.
So it
Is it
needs to be
version 2?
needs to be bright and consistent
Yeah.
light. Like it's not just bright, it's consistent. So like if you have tubes which are like 50, 60 hertz, and the scanner will shoot its light in between that hertz. Like you have a flicker on your GoPro when you're looking at that light. The scanner will shoot its light in between those frequencies, so you'll just see nothing. The scanner won't pick anything up because it's shooting its light in between that frequency, so you'll just see nothing.
Yep. It is version 1 of the pop scanner, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Version.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself. If you're looking for a certain light experience, like you said, you need 4K light. Why not approach to the movie industry, because they do have, lights like that, and they're powerful.
Yeah, for sure. You don't need it. You don't need to be massively powerful. It just needs to be consistent. If it's really, really too bright, you'll get like glare and stuff. It'll start working against you. So it just needs to be consistent. So less bright, the right spectrum, less bright, more consistent.
Right.
I think that's where I've found.
So what light bulb do you go with then?
But we get like I'd use in the UK we have 4K lighting is a spectrum, so you can buy 3K light bulbs, which is warm white. You can buy 4K, which is daylight. You can buy 5K, which is fucking the sun. I don't even know what that is. It's so bright you can't even look at it. So like, but 4K is just I can buy that tube in 3K, 4K, 5K. It's a spectrum. You just go on a electrical website and have a look. But the 4K ones work for me. Were great. Something that I do scanning of horses' feet, right? So I go up to a horse and I'll scan its feet for like making horseshoes and stuff, and making medical shoes for horses. And I do that in quite low lighting, but I use a texture pack on the scanner to do that. Right, and I use the floor. So like the floor around the horse is really textured, the concrete around where the horse's feet is. So I'll use the floor, which is a reliable textured, full of features surface, and then I'll capture everything around it as a consequence. Do you know what I mean? As a subsequence of that. So I'm scanning the floor and getting the horse's foot in the background, essentially.
Like the mirror bouncing off.
No, kind of. It's just that the floor is reliable.
Yeah.
It's reliable, right? The horse will move.
It's a stable surface.
Exactly. So I'll use the floor around the horse's foot.
So.
Yeah, and well, not say it keeps moving, but it's darker, it's hairy. Do you know what I mean? There's other things on a horse's foot which aren't desirable to scan. So you'll get. Yeah. So you start using other areas around you to be able to scan better. So it's not just about the object you're scanning. I've used to get round a part, right? It's actually quite difficult to do the long and thin parts. So because you need to get your scanner around the object, right? And that's actually really difficult because of the depth of what you're scanning is changing all the time. So when you spend more on a scanner, you're spending more for the depth because that makes it easier. But when you're scanning around a side object, I've used my hand on a table. And to use my hand to go round that object, because I can put my hand there, use my hand to go round the corner, right? And then to get the other side of the scan, and then delete my hand after. So scanning's another world. I love it. It's really good. And I suggest anyone to get into it if you can. The industry for it is insane. It's insane. Anyone can pick up a scanner and go to work.
Yep.
You just have to be able to afford the scanner. Advertise you do it. Boom. I can't recommend it enough.
That's basically one of the things why I wanted to get a scanner, to do reverse engineering type stuff in a sense. So
yeah. But reverse engineering is about making the model what it used to be, not what it is now as well. So you can scan something, you've scanned it, but you haven't actually captured what the designer intended. You captured what you captured.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's been ground off or changed or, like worn, because the reason when you're scanning it is probably because it's worn or broken or like it's not fitting anymore. So you need
Right.
to go back to reverse engineering and measuring stuff to what it actually was supposed to be, rather
Yep.
than what it is now. Because what it
Yeah.
is now is not.
What do you recommend for bicycle parts?
What, like printing? What, a material?
Yeah. No.
Uh,
Scanning wise, I mean, what scanner would you go with?
like the thin tubes and reflective tubes and scanning. Is that like you're talking reflective materials or like
Yeah,
just scanning a bike
plastics.
or just scanning
Yeah,
parts
yeah, the
individually?
whole part individually and the whole bike too.
Okay, so you
And
want something. So we go back to your depth. Okay, your depth of scanning. So you could buy something. This will do up to like parts like a meter tool, and then you start using your depth. You start losing your sort of. But it'll also do things like tiny little things. Okay, so there's various scanners to cover various things.
like this.
If you're scanning anything under 13 inches, all right, something like that would probably be a necessity, or you'd have to go with something smaller. If you wanted to scan something which was this big and then go and scan something a meter, right, then you need something like that. But you could get like those tiny little line scan SPs and SEs, right? If you were just scanning miniatures, you could get something
Yeah,
like that. If you wanted to scan a car, okay, because car's quite big, you would scan with something called an Einscan HX, it does dual light big, but its depth is massive. It's
Yep.
got a really big depth, so you can come back from the car and still be scanning it, and you're not like dip 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 dip, like Matt knows that pain, dip dip, and then it's just not recognizing anything. So like, and it's just all about okay. You want an answer? Einscan Pro HD would probably do it. Yeah, it's about $8,000.
Only.
Whew.
Yeah, there
Well,
is.
I guess I better start saving my money up.
Yeah, Einscan Pro HD. They're about $12,000 for the pack. $11,000 plus the VAT for like the scanner, the color pack, the industrial turntable, and then yeah, job done. But that you can get a battery with that one, so like you can do it like you can do it handheld as well. Just go off with your scanner, and it's got a battery on it.
What do you
Which is very
think
cool.
about those 400-pound one? What you see on eBay and all that? They're
I
probably
don't.
pretty problematic.
You just speak to Matt for the opinion on them. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'd swear.
You do the best stuff anyway, so I
But
mean,
no,
you know your stuff.
it's just because I use it.
Yeah.
I use this stuff day in day out. It's just what I do. But I had all those crealities mount behind you. I had all them for years. Years, mate. I plugged through it. I was determined to get easier machines to use, and just when I did, I obviously started teaching people how to use them. And working for the manufacturers and stuff like that. But I for years, man, I cut my teeth on that stuff. I couldn't tell you how many Titan arrows I strapped to CR10 machines, and I remember watching Matt and Tim back at when Matt was at TH3D, and they used to do the similar sort of stuff as well. Back when I was cutting my teeth on that sort of stuff, the same when they were doing that. I was
Yep.
there just. It was only one of me, and I had to make it easier for myself. So I just ended up buying more expensive machines to try and make it easier for myself.
Yep.
Most of the time, it didn't. Got to be honest with you. Like, I could tell you so many things about these machines behind me, which you wouldn't expect. However, I use them day in day out, and they look after me well. Like, so we use like high temp, so that's like 430. So I'll do like peak and ultim and stuff to create bot.
Yep.
Cheap way of doing it. Like that's like a Creality version of the industrial market right there. They're like 1,500 quid, £2,000 or something. But it'll print peak ultim horrendously slow. And you got to have the chamber really, really hot, but it'll do peak and ultim. Like craft bots, they have two heads. I use them for the IDEX when I'm trying to produce stuff, loads of it, so I don't have to have two machines on every desk. I just have one machine, prints the same item, 250 by 250, build beds, basically split in. It's a 450, but split into two, so it just splits the same items and just duplicate mode. I print loads of things, and then that there is actually I do material testing because I make recycled fishing net into filament in Cornwall. So I'm doing some testing with Ultimaker on the filament to help put it into their material program so that people can download the material, download the profile, and then
That's cool.
print fishing net. So I'm a consultant for Fishy Filaments in Cornwall. So they turn fishing net into pellet. I turn the pellet into filament, and then I print it. I'll have to send you a roll sometime. And then I have a BCN 3D here, which has like a metal pack, so it can print 316 stainless. And also anything else I want it to. Obviously, it's got ABS in there at the minute, but it can print 316. You know, the BASF 316 stainless that's out at the minute, which is really, really cool, by the way. We just made the UK's first 3D printed razor in 316 stainless on this machine, which has worked really well for a company called Mutiny. You want to check them out, they're really cool. And then in the other room, I got a Zebmorph i500, which I use for prototyping. They released it. I did some work with them on the release. It kind of went back, and it's being re-released again soon, which is pretty cool. It's like a 12K industrial machine sort of thing. And then in the other room, I've got like a Craftbot XL, so the same one as this one, just double the height. So like 500 tool, and then just another one of those, just because I do a lot of work on those. So and a Shining AccuFab, like resin printer. Don't know if this will reach around this. Don't know if it'll reach around there, but yeah, there you go.
Oh wow!
So it's a lot of kit. It costs a lot of money, and I have to pay it off, which is mostly paid off. But it works. Yeah.
I start out small, work myself up. That's how I see it.
That's where I was 6 years ago, mate. Like I was there. I used all that
my
stuff
problem is I mostly do
years.
charity work.
Yeah, but there's a fundamental change in the way that you look at 3D printing after you. Matt will know this. Like I think I see Matt's been toying with going full-time 3D printing for years now, but like there's a fundamental shift when you go from part-time to full-time, and it's really hard. Most people see it as like quite easy. Most people that you see online in the Facebook groups that are saying they've got 3D printing business are working as well. Don't think they're not. They are. They're working as well. Like it took me a long time to be fully support myself. I have to travel the country, training people how to use machines, installing machines for other manufacturers and stuff. Like I have to hustle so hard. Do you know what I mean? To not have to go back to work. You know, like I have to like convince all of these people that make me these machines all the time that that they want me to do their stuff and do campaigns and do case studies, and I have to submit my customers that I've been building up for ages into case studies so that everyone knows what I'm doing. Oh man, it's like sacrificial. I'm like a lamb sometimes, like for these manufacturers, because they want to show you guys that you can use these machines to do awesome stuff, but they've got to show people. So they need products, they need ideas, they need solutions, they need and then and that's kind of what I do now. That's where cool. I found my place. You know, like. But there's loads of different places for people in 3D printing. I think the world of 3D printing is coming into a stage where it's going to start sucking people from every walk of life. Like I sort of study what you do, like management and sort of logistics, didn't you, Matt? And that sort of thing. You know, it's pulling people in from every single walk of life. I did procurement. So my skill is procurement and water filtration. Originally, like I knew water filtration. I knew a lot about pH and regulating water, and I did the procurement for that company. So right now, I applied my skill as a procurement manager into 3D printing. You know, and there's loads of different people doing the same thing. You may have Matt German might have a background in electrical manufacturing or something like that. But everyone's bringing their different skills into the world of 3D printing, and that's what's really cool.
Yeah, I'm
That's what's really
specialized in lithophane making. That's
well, yeah, but art, art. I did a speech yesterday at the university, the University of Art of Plymouth. So they invited me there to talk about what I do, but they consider what I do art, but I don't consider myself an artist, you know, but they
if you're a
do.
maker, you're an artist.
Yeah,
Because even
it's all because
because
of
a
my work
maker
with the
is an
recycled fishing
artist.
net.
An
But
artist is a maker. That's
yeah,
like a catch-22 thing.
Yeah.
exactly. So you've got an artist from every single walk of life now in 3D printing. Like, and that's what's exciting. You've got some
I
cool
see only
people.
one problem with myself. If I would go as big as you are, my disability, what I have, my PTSD, because I sleep less, I'm not allowed to drive a car because I suffer from insomnia. And
Yeah.
so I have to work from home. And whenever I have wake up or feel like want to do something, I go in the other room and do something,
Yeah.
And
And that's the beauty about 3D printing. You can pick it up, you can put it down,
yeah,
you can be involved as much as you like. It doesn't
Yep.
you don't have to be the pinnacle of everything. You just have to have fun with it, and do what you want.
enjoy
That's
it.
why I build these 3D sets cars. It grounds me. Like I have to like sharpen my teeth on stuff every now and again. Like when people ask me to use I release lots of profiles for like all the machines we use in like nylons, industrial polymers that people really get confused with, and then we
Yep.
regulate them to a manufacturer filament. Here's a machine. Here's a filament. It works, right? Like Prusa do, but just on a
Yep.
very small scale, very small scale. But like it works. If you just go
I just get a pusher.
plug this into that, it just works. And that's what people need to do, and more often. Like the more filaments I use when I'm making these things, the more options our customers have to then print with. And actually, a lot of my R&D now comes from making RC cars. So, because I don't want to have to do it all the time.
There you go.
Yay! Wow.
Yeah, it's only a small one, but
Mate, I love them. I think they're great. I taught at school how to use one last week. I think they're great. I think, honestly, I said to them themselves, like, which they said, should we have bought a printer off you? I said, no, not really. I said, you've probably bought the best thing for you. Like, that thing's so usable for all your kids. They're never going to break it. Well, they probably will break it. But, it's hard for them to break. All the profiles that they want are online. I just got to close my door a minute.
One.
that's cool. Yeah, the other week I was not able to do much.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh, nice.
So that's the last one I did. And so like this one's got full lights, so I put like a full lighting system in it.
Nice.
And obviously you can obviously change the spec of every single type of. This is like carbon fiber bonnet because obviously it gets hot underneath, and then
Mhm.
this is mostly nylon, like for the drive chain, all the
Yep.
gears, or it's all printed the running system.
Oh,
So, but that teaches people if a class teaches that, it teaches them about 18 different polymers. Well, for young budding kids, what's best to learn about something more than a nice RC car,
Yeah,
Like an
exactly.
RC car will tell them everything they need to know about plastic.
And that'll get them interested anyway because it's something
100%.
cool.
Like Daniel Nari, Matt. Daniel Nari, he made the Benchy. So like
Yeah.
he also did the Open RC Formula One car. If you have a look into it, it's a fucking great thing. Tim's probably did some stuff with it in the past. You've probably seen it at Murph and stuff. But no, the Open RC Formula One car Daniel did was really good because a school could download all the bits to an RC car, and then make different parts for it themselves. Make new front wings, new rear wings. As
Right.
Formula One cars evolve, or like Indy cars. You guys don't like do Formula One out there, do you? Much, but they're you can change that car, which is great. You know, for
Right.
kids, it's great. That's all they want to do, isn't it, Matt? Do you know what
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean? Make
Kids would
things.
love that. Like
They
make
have
it something their
NASCAR in
own.
America a lot.
Shush up.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
really good.
that.
I know. Worth Additive. Worth are a company that I've been doing a bit of work with recently. They're becoming a massive player in additive manufacturing in America at the minute, and they're sponsoring races and Formula, car events like it's going out of fashion.
Right.
WURTH. They make like bolts and
Worth. Yep.
yeah,
I know a couple people who work for them.
they are buying up large sections of the 3D printing market right now.
Yeah. So the first additive manufacturing show that I went to was
Yep.
a couple months ago, and I met all those guys. Like I'd known them from here and there working for TA's 3D, just seeing them online, and then I finally met them, and it's like I'm used to consumer based printers, and going to a show that's more additive manufacturing it's like
Mark
a
Forged
whole
and
different
yeah, it's
area.
insane.
Like
Yeah.
you get into a bunch of different stuff, and if you told somebody that was a consumer printer buyer the prices and what you would get for that, they wouldn't grasp the concept of
They'd
what
laugh at
those
you, yeah.
printers are capable of, because all they see is a price tag way out of their range. And it's insane. And so many military contractors were there. It was just crazy to meet some of the people there.
And they are, and you'll see that they'll capitalize that market. They're taking it over. So they've just employed 2 or 3 people from Shining.
Yep.
Some good people, some from
I
high
know
up
one of
people.
them.
Yeah, maybe who's that? Someone called Grant. Do you know Grant?
Yes. I
Grant
was
Michael.
Yeah, I was
So
he was
Grant's a
one
really
that
good friend of
I had
mine.
known, and I'd never met him person to person.
Hmm.
And we were going to an after party for Mark Forge.
Yeah.
And the table that I was at was all the Worth and Shining 3D people that were there.
Yeah.
And they run their own little printing business out of their garage. And he's showing me they were talking about a $12,000 scanner that they just left in the car, and they're like, yeah, I hope somebody doesn't steal it. It's just sitting in the back seat.
Yeah,
Nobody would probably know what it
Grant's a
is.
lovely bloke, mate. Grant's a really, really nice bloke, and he's
Yeah.
really approachable about reverse engineering as well.
Yeah, he's
And
a really cool guy.
so yeah, there's big moves over in the States on that sort of stuff. I keep my
You right, mate?
my eyes, man. I think my eyes seem to be burning up a little bit, but it's like I got up and I was watching this. I woke up and I was just in bed and I was just like, and I found the stream and then I started watching it and then I kind of came down and joined it. So that's pretty much how that worked.
Cool.
So it's still quite early and I haven't had much breakfast yet, so I might need to go off and get something to actually eat in a minute. But it's been really cool to come in and hop in with you guys.
Nice
Obviously,
to meet you.
and Matt German and Matt, obviously nice to me and Matt. We've known each other for a long time. On friends on Facebook, obviously since he was at TH3D, so it's been nice to watch him progress over the time. And obviously, I've been busy doing my own sort of thing at a similar time. We've started a YouTube thing, which we're gonna. So I had a media company approach me about what I do. Of wanting to sort of YouTuberize it, really.
Right.
Which is kind of in mid swing at the moment. So maybe we've set up podcast rooms and stuff
There
that
you go.
we can do talks about and stuff. So I'll probably in contact with you, Matt, about some stuff that we can do. But mainly it's about recycled stuff. So recycled materials. So
Yeah.
we've just made a PA6 carbon fiber. So recycled fishing net, but also recycled carbon fiber as well.
Nice.
Which will be released next month. So there's some things which I'm filming
You
at the
might be a
moment.
person to talk to. I have to message here if that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's not a problem at
Uh,
all. Like,
I have some ideas because uh, the big idea is to collect the plastic what's swimming out in the ocean, right? And then bring it back or have a ship out there what cleans the plastic and melts the plastic down and put it into filament and then use it again to produce something or to make an island, to make it basically bigger, to take all the plastic out of the ocean, but
yeah.
have like little robots, ships going around collecting it and then coming to the main mothership back and dropping it off, and it just keeps floating and producing, and then once a month get a ship out there to collect it, and then you know
I can't even tell you. I
that's my big
recently
idea
worked
what
on
I have.
I
So
recently worked on a project. I'm working on a project at the moment called the Plastiki project, and it's about building a massive boat out of recycled
yeah,
plastic. So it
that's what
went
I
to
thought.
Boston. Went to Boston and Manhattan recently.
This big boat makes little boats to collect more plastic.
Not so much of harnessing, but their view on the current way of picking up plastic from the ocean is they spend more fuel, right? Process using boats to collect the plastic than it is actually worth recycling it. So what's
I'm
the
not
point,
talking
right?
about
So
fuel. I'm talking about designing it more like a sailing ship.
100%.
So
But the stage is set for something like that because the current way that they pick it up is obscene. So they
yeah,
take
it's
boats out, they burn fuel to pick up rubbish, which they're going to recycle. It's like it's going to cost money to recycle that stuff, right? So you're spending
yeah,
money to then spend money to then make something good. Like it,
yep.
it needs privatization of recycling is the first step of modernization. Okay, so recycling fishing net is we identified, and Ian identified, the main person who does it, is if you create a value. Okay, if I print stuff like this, it's really cool, right? This fishing net. If I create stuff like this all day long, and I sell this product, okay, then loads of people want to buy this product, and the value of this raw product is high. Okay, so what that means, you've created a revenue stream to then raise the core value of that product. So when I get demand for this and everyone wants to buy this, I can put the price up, right? Which means the fishing net guys that bring the fishing net back have got a reason to bring it back, right? So it's like the aluminium can effect. If I give you a quid for an aluminium can, if you were clever,
We
you'd
got
go and
rid of.
get 20.
We
You'd go and get 20 people to collect you cans, and you'd give them 80p each because you can make money out of that recycling. If I
Here in
can
the
get
UK,
to the
we had recycling before the 80s.
if I could get to the point where we can give money to the guys bringing back the nets instead of them cutting them off, right? So that's a direct reduction in ghost netting, right? So that helps the problem, but it also gives a financial revenue high enough to be able to profit out of it, which creates a privatized recycling scheme, right? So it's in our interest to recycle more of it because we make money out of it, right? So that's the scenario you
Other
need to set
people's
up.
trash is other people's treasure.
Exactly, and that's the
Yeah.
scenario you need to set up. But doing that is hard, right? Because you need profit margins. Someone needs to pay for that. Like someone needs to pay
You
that
need
large
equipment.
product price. And 3D printing right now is an industry where you can have high product cost versus high output. So I could take a £70 roll of that because that's how much it is. It's brutal. £70 for a roll of PA6 nylon, right? But I can produce £900 of that in 2 days. So 3D printing right now is a high value revenue source which can take the full brunt of recycled materials because the output's high, so the input can be high, because your profit
Right.
margins are running at such a rate that you can put it in there. So that's why across a board of other types of plastics, right? What the problem is that some of them aren't recyclable, some of them are. Separating them by the time you
hard.
separated them, your end cost value is above what anyone would pay for it, right?
Yep.
So that's the hard thing with
Because labor is
recycling.
expensive here in the UK too.
That's the hard thing with recycling. It's identifying what is recyclable and what you can make a revenue stream out of in the end. Before we were making fishing net out of these nets, they were sending them off to Iceland to be made into kayaks. Well, the CO2 reduction of sending them to Iceland completely negated the fact of recycling them in the first place. What's the point?
Right.
You've just
Exactly.
burnt all that fuel, sending all this plastic to Iceland when it could be used 50 miles up the road and turned into 3D printing filament. That's how you affect the localized manufacturing of an area. Like you use local plastic to print local shit with, to ship outside of your country. So like if I've sent stuff to China, like I don't send their rubbish back to China. I send fishing net to China. Do you know what I mean? Like deal with it. You know, like have some of our plastic. You know, like for once. You know, because that's essentially what it is, right? You know, like there's a town in China that produces 250 tons worth of buttons per week.
Jesus.
Right? Buttons. Right? I could make every single one of those buttons from fishing net. Injection mold them. It's doable. It's totally doable. It's just it's not done. But right now the logistics cost is so high from China, and I bet you've got loads of Chinese people watching me, Matt, right now. But the logistical cost is so high from China that it doesn't make sense anymore.
You know,
So
another thing what you said, you still have plastic what you can't recycle.
yeah,
How
there's
about
loads
you
of
can
types of
take
it.
this type of plastic and heat it up and compress it into blocks so you can actually build a house out of it,
100%.
or maybe insulation with it, or because you can spray them with stuff that it doesn't burn. You know what I mean?
100%. There is so many different things you could do with it. The only block is if it's viable or not. Because if heating it up is cost too much money, no one's going to buy it.
Yeah, but this is
So
where I
there
thought
has to
about
be
location.
yeah,
Location. And
to
you said
reduce
transport,
logistics. Yeah.
but I had some ideas like make a ship where you have a windmill on top, you know, producing the electric, and then propel the boat forward, or have a windmill producing the electric to melt down the plastic.
I think we're
You know,
bordering on the rule of repetitive motion there. Like the rule
yeah,
of you can only produce so much energy to you can, a
yeah, but it
self-perpetual
would be
motion is a bit of a myth, you know. Like it's going to take power to make the turbines to stick up on the ship to turn it round. You know, you've got to pay for all of that, and then plus you're going on wind, which could just die down, so that it could all be for nothing. So it's just about you can only ever put so much energy into something and get so much out of it. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's one
yeah,
of those things. But
and
you are right, and the more people that think about it, the better it will be. Like because
yeah,
the
we
more
will find a
universities that
solution
look at
maybe.
exactly, and I think that's what it's all about. And I think 3D printing kind of helps in a way, I
What
suppose.
the fuck?
What's going on?
Something.
Not working?
Oh no, something's wrong with it. So I took a print off of this is the mini 8K,
Yeah.
and I did this print just not even a couple hours ago, and I set Darkwing Duck. I printed him off, and I went and grabbed him, took him off, and everything's like squished, like it's half of his body and everything, like nothing ever came
Uh,
out. So I'm like, what the hell? Maybe something's up with the model. So I ran it again, and I'm looking at it, and the Z rod is literally lifting up and coming back down.
oh,
So
so
it's
it
not
wasn't even doing
connected.
anything. Oh no.
That's why it's squishing.
Yeah.
It's doing what it needs to, but
The
it's
couplets
doing
come
too
undone.
much and too
Yeah.
little of the action it's supposed to
Maybe
because the
the
Z rod is disconnected.
Have they got a is there like a flat bit on the motor shaft where the grub screws sort of come away and it's not spinning right?
I have not a clue. So now I have to take a look and see how it's connected. So now I basically have to take apart the machine and see what's going on.
Oh, what one is that? What's that? The Frozen 8K, is it?
Yeah, brand new machine.
Oh,
Wow.
that's they wobble, man. Stuff in boxes wobbles. It scares me so much. Craftbot did it when Craftbot released their machine. They didn't secure the heads well enough.
Yeah.
You seen it on Joel's videos that I was a consultant for Craftbot at the time, and they asked me to do all the consultation with Joel when he was doing his reviews and stuff. And yeah, they broke 2 machines sending them to him, mate. Like 2 brand new machines, and Joel crucified them. It was fucking brutal. And
Wow.
but it was all because they weren't strapping the heads together in shipment, and they were just colliding and causing all sorts of grief.
Yep.
And no one knew because the person that was packaging them, wasn't saying shit, And then yeah, it can happen. Like stuff can happen, man. I've seen I've seen some horrendous mistakes in industrial printer transport.
Well,
It happens.
the weird thing is I've done quite a few models off of this already. So it's not.
It's probably just worked its way off or vibrated
Yeah.
out or
Well,
something.
it's possible it could have been a shipping issue, and then finally it just, like you said, worked its way off of it.
Yeah.
But it's not
I
necessarily a
just
good thing
hate
to do.
taking resin printers apart, don't you? It just feels
Yep.
like they just weren't ever meant to be taken apart. Like
No.
I don't know if you ever took a Weeboots apart,
Yes.
but
One time.
buh, I bet you don't want to do that again.
Nope.
No.
Because
So
that's one of the nicer machines to take apart, actually.
I tell you what, worst thing I ever did, right? I actually know him now, so it's a bit different. But 3D Prima. You ever had a 3D Prima?
Yeah.
You probably have.
Yep.
And I was ordering. I bought. I was working for Box.co.uk at the time, so I was doing their sort of technical support, online help, and stuff like that. And I had like a Creality LD 001, was it? Like their first resin printer, right?
Yep.
And then I bought one, and then I needed a screen for it. So Jack said, "Oh, Mike, they're like if you go 3D Prima, they're like 40 quid on their store." He was like, "I haven't got any." I was like, "Sweet." So I ordered one, and they sent me a whole printer instead of just a screen. Instead of just a screen, they sent me the whole printer. So I was like, "How many times am I going to get away with this?" 5 times.
Jesus.
5 LD001s I had rock up, right? And then they were out of stock of the screens. So they had loads of printers, but they had no screens. So I couldn't buy any more screens but the name on the code for the screen was LD001. The name for the printer's code was LD001. So they kept sending me resin printers instead of screens. But I actually needed screens, because they were breaking, instantly. Like, instantly. So I was like, I actually needed that. So I kept taking the screens out of working units. To resolve that, which is nuts. So, oh hello, oh my,
Hold on. Let me see if
oh
I
it's
can
all the
get
way
this.
in there.
So it's in
Oh,
there, but look at. Watch this.
Oh wow.
oh, yeah, the whole thing's not even right.
Come on, focus.
How can you look? Yeah, how do you get to that motor? Because there's 2 bolts. There's one on the
The
other
thing
side.
is I'm hoping I can just pull this up and screw that in, and it'll
Yeah,
be okay.
because the other one's not loose. If you have a look at the other one, the other
Yeah,
side's not loose, is it? So it's
it's
just
not.
one side that's loose.
Maybe it broke. Maybe it broke out of its socket.
Now the thing is I'm in a Frozen group, like all the big shots from Frozen and everything, and this was an issue that they were talking about where it was smashing things, and I'm wondering if this was the issue that they were having.
That sounds like it.
I reckon that's what was wrong with the one. I had one of them. Well, not so long ago. I left it where I left.
I love my mighty Sonic K. What you gave me, Matt.
Yeah.
It's
What's
working right
funny
now.
about this is like Frozen is probably the biggest company that like I work with out of anything. And the first Frozen printer that I bought was the Sonic Mini, the original. And I did an unboxing, and it literally died 5 minutes after the unboxing.
No.
Yeah. And I didn't want to take it apart because I'm like, it's a brand new printer. I shouldn't have to be doing this. Like, it's literally got an hour worth of print, not even an hour. It was like 30 minutes worth of printing. I'm like, I shouldn't have to do this. So I sent it packing, and I never did a review for it again. And then they just kind of reached out, like with the Sonic Mini 4K and the Mighty and everything. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and do this. And it's been just kind of history ever since. Damn. All right, so that's good. Now let's check this one. Ooh. That second one was getting ready to come out too.
I don't know. I've only got a few opinions about like loose stuff and stuff that comes from the Far East, so I don't want to offend anyone that's in the that's watching your stuff, Matt. But that it just the travel over just takes its toll on everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how much bubble wrap you put it in. It's just the logistics.
And that's one thing people don't understand. Like I see people, they're like, it's a brand new printer. The screen is flickering, or
Yeah,
it's
it's had
not
a hard life
showing
already.
anything. And I'm like, you got to understand that what the shipping goes through these things. Like,
Yeah.
just take
Yeah.
it apart, take a look at it, and see if you can try and fix it. If not,
So,
then send it packing. But at least give it a shot. You know.
and to be honest, you're not buying a budget printer and expecting no issues, are you? Do you know what I mean? Like all these people, they go, what's an Ender 3 going to be like? And then they go on and they get a result, like they go on the Ender 3 forum and then 50 people say it's great, 50 people say it's absolutely trash, right? And then they go and buy it, right? And then they argue that, like, hang on, like literally 50% of the people here told you might have issues, right? So don't be upset when you do. But now is your chance to learn from this group to put it right. And I see it all the time. I left a lot of those groups because they got really toxic. Like,
Yep.
like
That's literally one of the reasons why I created my 3D printing for noobs group, is
yeah,
because the Ender 3 group was so toxic. And
yeah.
then I went to like the CR10 group, and I was like, it's not much better. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to create my own group. And it went off there. And now I'm at 72,500 members. So,
Yeah. That's how it starts, man.
all right. All good. All fixed. What was that? 10 minutes?
Done. Well done, mate. What's that there, Matt?
Just called a lithophane, and it's the balloon lithophane. One of the hardest things to print because most people get under extrusion with them, or get
Matt, have you
like
got much experience about putting, like, I've got a customer, right, that needs a design put onto a vase,
yeah.
but only like, sort of like, I need like, I've kind of got it like sketched out.
I have vase mode.
Well,
I
yeah,
have
what I need to use, I need to print something in Fissionet, and I need to be in vase mode, but I kind of need to put like the outline of a fish on the outside of the vase, like a specific fish. I've got the design file, but like,
go on Thinking Universe. Put Matt German in. I made a fish design. It looks similar to a vase, but I can shape it into a vase if you wanted to. have a look at that if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Thingy Universe, Just Punch and Mad German, one name, and it's called a Koi Lamp.
What's it? Thingiverse.
Yeah.
Pink turntable.
Everybody's favorite slow website.
Hmm. Yeah, but you can
What should I
store.
type in? Sorry.
Just punch in my name, Mad German, in one go, no space in between.
Yeah. I found you on Thingiverse. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, like Mandelbrot. Yeah, like I need. Okay. Well, maybe you could like. Do you want a job? Do you want a 3D printing paid design job? I've got a job you can do for me if you want.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk about this in
I kind of
private.
need like. It's really simple, but I also dude. Yeah, send me an email.
Yeah. The best thing is talk over Facebook with me, because that's always the best way to talk with me about things.
Can you add me on there? Can you see me
Yeah,
there?
yeah. Hold on, I go. You in Matt Farmer group?
Huh?
Yeah. So hold on, look me in Matt Farmer's group. Put in Matt Farmer under friends. You find me there.
Let's have a look
Because I don't know
in,
your name in groups.
All right. Problem solved. I always check everything when I get something shipped. Yeah, I don't really check everything, but yeah. Let's see. Lose Z access, weld it. That's a big Z wobble. It wasn't terrible, but I was expecting a lot worse. So, while you're still live, yes, I am. I probably should be getting off here in a couple minutes because it's getting to be 4 a.m. in the morning. So, well, look, when I deal
yeah, man.
with this many resin printers, I would hope I know how to fix them.
Yeah, man. I can only imagine you do. It's
But,
but they don't break right all the time, do they? Like I
no,
can't
they
imagine.
really don't, and that's one of the reasons why I really like them over
I can't
FDM,
find you.
because like
I
FDM,
put a
you can
3D
have a
printing
clog,
combo.
and it could be caused by like 30 different things.
Yeah.
Whereas resin, it's pretty straightforward. There's very little moving parts. You don't have to maintain them too much. Replacement FEPs, replacement screens. That's about the only two things you really need. And I'll be honest, I've been doing this for 3 years now. I've had well over 30 some odd machines in my grasp. I've replaced 6 FEPs and 3 screens in my life of resin printing. So,
No way. That's amazing, mate. I honestly, the Creality gave me the worst experience for screen replacements ever.
yeah, with the LD001,
But
that's a
the
horrible printer.
AccuFab, mate. I've never had a failed print.
Yep.
Never.
That's the Weebox. I had it once, and it was totally my fault. I
Well,
set up the wrong support structure on it. So
Can you leave a comment on Matt Farmer Facebook?
nope, that's too much.
No.
What do you need?
Thank you.
I've left a link on the
It's
on
on
the
my personal page.
stream. Can I send it in StreamYard in the
Yeah,
StreamYard
you can
bit?
send it in
That's even
private
better.
chat. Yep.
Yeah, that's the
Private chat,
deal.
yeah.
I can just send it in there.
There you
There you
go.
go. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, there's the Facebook and then that's the support group for like. Oh no! Apparently it's a different. Fucking Jesus. There we go. Makes sense now. Yeah, cool. Well, Matt, it was nice to hang out. Thank you for letting me come in. And it was nice to speak to you, Matt
Yeah.
German,
You too.
and nice to meet you too. Yeah. If you ever want to go through some stuff ever in future, Matt,
Absolutely.
Farmer, then we can do some more of these. I don't mind talking to
Hey,
anyone want to
I
know.
always do live streams all the time, especially late at night because I work weird hours, so I'm always on here, around this time. So
Cool, man. Well, it was nice to hang out.
All right.
And nice to meet you. And I'll
yeah.
speak soon.
All
Cheers,
right, guys. You have a good
I
one,
see you.
and
Bye.
thanks everybody for stopping in and chatting.
Bye bye.
All right. You got all your links and everything?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
I'm not
just
that
gonna
far